The Tigers at home with the Gators. Today on Channel 4.
The following is an exclusive presentation of Jefferson Pilot Sports.
Steve Spurrier has always been big man on campus. Armed with Heisman hopeful Danny Werfel, the Gators are in unfriendly territory. Today, LSU fans find out if their beloved Tigers are truly contenders or pretenders. Jerry DiNardo hopes this game is another chance at seeing a proud tradition reborn on the Bayou. It's the best matchup in the South, and it's next on Jefferson Pilot Sports. It is a time-honored tradition in Tiger Town, and this afternoon we find out a great deal more about the new generation of LSU football fans. It's the Lee SEC Game of the Week, number 3 Florida against number 21 LSU. Hello again, everyone. Along with Dave Rowe, my partner, I am Tim Brando, and truly, Dave, this is a game that's impact will echo throughout the remainder of the year.
Oh, tremendous impact, Tim. LSU's going to find out just how good their program is today. Florida's been in this position a lot of times, division title race, but for LSU, it's a benchmark game.
Steve Spurrier really knows about the big games throughout his years, and he really does march to the beat of his own drum.
Oh, yeah, he really gets a different look at it. He says, hey, we're going to run our stuff. We'll make adjustments. You see if you can beat us.
Jerry DiNardo believes he's matured in the role as head coach now that he's at LSU.
Well, he hopes his team's matured because he's saying, hey, we're going to go out there. We just don't want to play well. We got to think about winning.
Folks, it doesn't get any better than this in the Southeast, and we've got it for you today. The best in the SEC, LSU and Florida.
Today's Lee Apparel SEC Game of the Week is brought to you by Lee Apparel. With new styles and colors, you'll like the way you look in Lee, the brand that fits. By Nationwide Insurance. Check the yellow pages for the nationwide agent nearest you. By Sonic Drive-In Restaurants, who invite you to drive in for a change. By CarQuest Auto Parts Stores. For the CarQuest store nearest you, call 1-800-492-HEART. By Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Mobile Motor Oil. At Mobile, we've been changing oil for over 125 years.
Better than 79,000 are on hand at Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge today, along with Dave Rowe and Bob Kessling. I am Tim Brando, and the captains are meeting at the middle of the field for the coin toss. And you can bet if LSU does manage to get the football first, they are anticipating an opportunity at getting an early lead. But it is Florida that won the toss, elected to receive, and the Tigers will kick off. And there is a very anxious coach, Jerry DiNardo.
Boy, is he ready. Look at him. You can see it. Even the lips are already dry. He's ready to play.
There are the Florida Gators, and here they come. Tigers, Steve Spurrier leads his troops. The man with the visor, he hopes to not take it off that often today. When he rips that visor off, he's generally not in a good mood.
Yeah, he's generally slapping it on his knee.
They rise to attention in Baton Rouge. Team captain Cedric Wilson brings out the Fighting Tigers. This is one of the reasons you love college football, these time-honored traditions. And it is truly a vision of purple and gold here in the morning. Here come the Fighting Tigers of LSU. good under the moonlight. They're hopeful of being quality today under the sunlight. And let's go down to Bob Kessling. Bob?
Tim, a little loud down here on the floor at Tiger Stadium. Interesting matchup today for both of these teams. Of course, Florida begins a very difficult stretch in the SEC. The next 3 games are on the road. In fact, 4 of their next 5 are on the road. They play LSU today, then at Auburn, and at Georgia. LSU, on the other hand, some injury problems. You saw Cedric Wilson, but he's still bothered by an ankle he hurt last week against South Carolina. Jamie Howard had a concussion in that game, but he's been cleared, so the LSU quarterback will play today. And also, Chris Hill, we've just learned, has been scratched from the lineup because of a groin injury. But LSU now knows they must control the ball. They've had problems running the football the last couple of weeks. To keep the Florida offense off the field, LSU has to control it today, and that's what they hope to do with Kevin Paul.
The head coach of the Gators, 1966 Heisman winner, 3-time SEC champion as a head coach, Steve Spurrier. Jerry DiNardo, 42 years old, Brooklyn born, and has really found a home. The bumper stickers are out. DiNardo for governor. Wade Ritchie will kick off, the sophomore out of Caring Pro. And back deep, the Florida Gators will go with Ike Hilliard and Riedel Anthony. There's Anthony. Both teams believe they can break one in special teams today. Ritchie, with the win, takes Anthony deep, and he'll think better of it. It'll be 1st and 10 for Florida at the 20-yard line. Danny Werfel's Gator team leading the Southeastern Conference in total offense. They are number 4 in the nation. You see the 12 touchdowns, just 3 interceptions thrown by Danny Werfel, junior out of Fort Walton Beach, who takes the criticism very well from Steve Spurrier, and that's very important, the psyche of a quarterback under that man, who is a perfectionist at that position.
Boy, right away, they can hardly hear down in the end zone.
That's the freshman Jackson off the left side. He has 6, maybe 7 yards. Stansberry comes in to polish up on the tackle. Behind Werfel, the outstanding tailback, averaging 7 yards a carry, Terry Jackson. During the possession receiver, Ike Hilliard can go deep. The tight end is Allen. Up front, Jason Odom is a Lombardi finalist, and he gets Northern today, and that's a critical matchup.
There's Jason Odom. Boy, has he got his hands full today.
2nd and 3. Jackson tries the right side. Only a yard, maybe 2. It'll be 3rd down and short coming up against this LSU defense. Wiley had 4 sacks last week, the young man out of Baton Rouge, and Anthony McFarland, a solid find as a freshman to go along with Gilliard and Northern, whom you know about. The secondary does have available to it Torrey James this week, though Troy Twilley does get the start at that cornerback spot, number 15. 3rd and 2. Option pitch to Jackson. 1st down, Gators.
Well, that's a play we haven't seen very often. That Werfel going down the line with a toss option. He's not known as a runner. Look at Jackson's average. You talked about it, over 7 yards a try.
Now, Steve Spurrier told us that Elijah Williams and Fred Taylor, who were the noteworthy freshmen last year, weren't available due to injury in the spring. Jackson came over from the secondary, where he had been a safety, and just lit it up. These guys haven't been able to get back into the lineup.
Well, how do you take him out when he's averaging over 7 yards a carry?
1st down, 10 Florida. Just underway from Tiger Stadium. Ike Hilliard in motion. Play fake. Werfel, incomplete. Pass thrown to Doring. Pretty good pressure again from LSU. Denard Walker was over there to provide coverage.
And Tim, one of the things that LSU had so much success with last week was getting Northern and Gilliard upfield, forcing the quarterback up in the middle. And last week, Chuck Wiley had 4 sacks.
In talking with defensive coordinator Carl Reese, he really believes that not only can Northern make a move against Odom, but Gilliard, who normally comes inside, is working on a freshman, Mo Collins. And he believes he can get pressure from both corners today. Werfel. Plenty of time. And there is Anthony. Picked off.
distance that Linton comes over, steps in front, and makes a tremendous catch. He's playing the quarterback's eyes, did just a great job breaking on the throw.
Everyone agrees LSU needed something to happen early in this game. Well, they've gotten it. Jamie Howard, the young man out of Lafayette who has turned his entire career around with the early portion of this season. Kinnison in motion. Now LaFleur in a twin tight end look sets up on the right side. Marcus down. That's Robert Toomer who's getting to start at that tailback spot, along with Falk and Cleveland, who have been banged up. This LSU offense nicked and banged this week. And we've got motion against the Tigers. That'll back them up. The Tiger offense, Jamie Howard with Falk and Shedrick Wilson. Eddie Kinnison could line up anywhere. Savoy and LaFleur, part of that twin tight end look. Faneca and Bordelon, the young men on the right side, have been impressive this year. So you repeat the down. 5 yards. First and 15 coming up for LSU.
And it's really interesting to see a double tight end set come out. They shift LaFleur from one side to the other to get that double tight end on the same side. One's as a wing back. That's power running. That's what that formation is. They just say, hey, we're going to come after you.
3 wideouts for LSU. Savoy stepping out of the game. The delay, Toomer. Beyond the 30 to the 32. The Florida defense lost 3 NFL players up front. McMillan, Johnson, and Carter all gone. Johnny Church, a man to watch at that end spot. And Ben Hanks is truly the star of this team. He will line up anywhere. The secondary is exploitable in many eyes. Lawrence Wright, the strong safety, one to watch. And there is Hanks, senior out of Miami. 34 tackles this year for him. Howard to Beard. First down, LSU at the 45. That's Chris Beard, redshirt freshman from Shreveport, who missed the bus last week. And part of the reason Shedrick Wilson had to play on a leg and a half was that he did not make the trip.
Boy, what a dart. Watch Jamie Howard here. He's going to throw a rope. Bam! He just drives it in the middle. Beard turns on that little post pattern inside, that little curl, and just makes the first down. But look at the protection. Big man, just keeping him out there, and no one in front of Jamie Howard.
LaFleur over there to help Turner at that left tackle spot to give better protection for Howard. First and 10 Tigers, 3 wideouts again. Howard to Kinnison. Eddie Kinnison to the Florida 35. That's a gain of 20.
And if the LSU crowd ever thought they didn't like a day game, they may love this one. They're all standing. It's an incredible crowd. Watch again here. Jamie Howard, good little play action now. Not a lot of pressure. Find Kinnison out in the flat. We know what he can do with the football. When he gets the football, he is a big game player.
Jerry DiNardo felt after the South Carolina game that they really had to get Kinnison more involved early this week. Howard again. Overthrows Kinnison this time. Over there to cover. Number 27, Demetri Jackson, junior out of Fort White, Florida. And some pressure coming from Lawrence Wright, who was coming in from that strong safety spot to hurry that throw.
Yeah, that was an interesting defense for Florida. They did a delayed blitz. They brought him late to put pressure, and I think Jamie Howard saw that flash on the backside and kind of just niched it a little bit, just drove it long.
You talk about tough schedules. In the NCAA, the Tigers are number 5, and this is a great example as to why. When you play Texas A&M in non-conference and your conference is the SEC, it's going to be a tough slate. Howard rolling and just threw that one away. Beard the closest to it for LSU.
A smart play by Howard. Don't try to force the ball in there. We saw all the problems that he had last year with that. This year, throw it out of bounds. Take a safe play.
Florida's defensive coordinator Bobby Pruitt told us earlier in the week that they will try to confuse with the 2 deep zones Jamie Howard. We may not see as much man-to-man, which frankly Howard's had to deal with the last couple of weeks.
And nobody likes man-to-man.
Pruitt there in the middle, looking down through that reflection. 3rd down 10, LSU. at the Gators 35 after the interception from Linton out of the shotgun. Howard to Wilson. Cedric Wilson lunging forward. He's always aware of where the sticks are located.
Well, Tim, I'll tell you, last week I thought that was the most courageous game I've seen by a wide receiver and a quarterback in Jamie Howard and Cedric Wilson. And this is who Howard is just familiar and comfortable with Wilson. Look at that. A lot of separation. The D-back falls down. Lunge to get that first down. Doesn't look like he's got a sore ankle or knee this week.
Now he leaves the game. He has been bothered with both an ankle and a knee, as we have documented. Chris Beard back into the game. Two tight ends, Savoie and LaFleur, both check in. Savoie more of a fullback spot in the slot. Toomer. Well, Florida snuffed that one out. David Bernard, the senior out of Miami Senior High School in Miami, there to make his second play of this game. Johnny Church was there to polish up.
When Bernard slide along the line, don't get knocked down. He's a powerful force in that middle. Doesn't get off his feet, just kind of keeps his feet, slides along, and bam, he makes that tackle.
Well, you know, you look at this Florida defense, you lose an Ellis Johnson, a Kevin Carter. I mean, Steve Spurrier knew that his team would have to mature defensively and rely on scoring points if they were to be ranked third in the country, which they are.
Well, their defense hasn't dropped off that much. They still got great quality players.
3 wideouts for LSU. Incomplete, marker down. Demetric Jackson will be guilty in defending Eddie Kennison.
That may be the best flag for Florida today. That was touchdown all the way. Kennison had that post route. He had beaten him. Jackson reached out and actually just break down the side of him down its back to get the flag, but that keeps from having a touchdown. Again, watch Kennison. In the middle, get that inside position. Bam, he's got him right there. Now just kind of drag him down. In college, you know, that's just a penalty. It's not at the position of the foul, so that saved the touchdown.
We had interference on the defense. It's a spot foul. Automatic first down.
Dick Burleson, our referee, gives the bad news to Steve Spurrier.
Boy, and LSU really needed this. They needed something to get this crowd in the game. They needed something to happen early, and they're getting it. With that turnover and then the conversions by Jamie Howard, they played extremely well and haven't given Florida the ball.
Smith, Wilson, and Kennison are the wide receivers. First and goal. And the play clock may have in fact run out.
Boy, you don't want to have a 5-yard penalty in this situation.
Dead ball foul. False start by the interior line on the offense.
Boy, I thought the play clock would have run out. Jerry DiNardo with a perplexed look. Some premature movement by the guard on the right side. There's our drive update. LSU, 7 plays, 50 yards since the interception by Linton of Danny Werfel.
Well, you talk about Florida's drive. They had 3 plays. They were out of there. Boom. LSU has taken the ball. They've controlled the clock for almost 3.5 minutes.
Kennison and Wilson at the top of your screen. Smith in motion. Howard for Wilson. Incomplete. Lawrence Wright right there.
Howard's pass intended for Cedric Wilson.
But Jamie Howard was going to make absolutely certain that no one other than Cedric Wilson would have a chance for the grab.
Well, Tim, you think about number 11, and that's Ben Hanks. 11's supposed to be a quarterback's number. He plays like a quarterback, but he's on defense. He's all over the place. You can't tell where he's coming from. He's in the line. He lines up in the secondary. He covers off the line. He's just a tremendous player.
More of a strong safety in his approach to the game. Toomer and Cleveland in the game. Shotgun for LSU. Second down from the 15. Toomer. Robert Toomer bouncing off Gators down to the 7. Mike Harris, the free safety, coming up to make the stop.
Wow, and what a run by Toomer. You talk about strength in there. He's like a bowling ball coming in there, just kind of bouncing around.
There you see the career touchdown passes. Tommy Hudson leading the way.
Watch this play real close. Ground action now. Gets hit there. Boom. He pushes him off. There's another missed tackle. There's a third missed tackle. They just can't get him down.
Third down and a goal-to-go situation for LSU. Toomer some time at that tailback spot today with Bonk and Cleveland smarting from last week. Howard dumps it off to Tooman. He gets to the 5. Nice work by Florida's defense. Very difficult to get wide against the Gators.
Well, a safe play, too. If he wasn't open, you throw the ball out of bounds and take the sure field goal position. And I think that's what LSU will do here. You want to score when you get opportunities.
Dexter Daniels and Lawrence Wright collaborate on the stop. And here's Andre LaFleur. Got his confidence back in the wake of that 20-20 tie last week. He had missed a couple in that big game here against Auburn. This will be a 22-yard try out of the hold of Casey Tabor. He missed it from the right hash. Bad news early for the Tigers, not taking advantage of a break off the interception.
Watch this kick, Tim. He just booms it, but he booms it to the right. Look how close it is. Right there. I mean, we're talking about just skims that post. You can see the reaction. He knows something like that can really turn it around.
The psyche of this team could be adversely affected. Florida, when they get a turnover, they turn it into 7. That's why they're able to run up 60-plus points or more in a lot of games. Again, trying the left side. Jackson met by Pat Rogers, among others, for LSU. Rogers, junior, out of Fair Park High School in Shreveport, Louisiana.
Boy, and that was a good play by Rogers. He stuffed the up back in the hole, slid to the play, made the tackle. That's a heads-up play.
This Florida team has become much more effective with the running game that's been offered up from Jackson. He's joined by Jerome Evans in a twin backs situation behind Werfel, 3 wide receivers. Quick drop, Werfel, quick cross, almost picked off. Linton nearly had it. It would have been his second pick in as many drives. Ike Hilliard, the intended receiver, Denard Walker there to cover.
Watch the tip and watch the quick reaction by Linton out there. Boom, you got to go to the football. I think he should have had it. Oh, he knocked it out when his elbow hit on the ground. That would have been another big turnover.
Denard Walker checks out of the game. Troy Twilley back in. Torrey James now matched up against Nafis Kareem. Werfel in trouble. Stansberry has him.
Watch this blitz late right there. Stansberry, nobody picks him up. He's right in the backfield. They got great pressure. They ran Gilliard up top. They ran a tackle down inside, and Stansberry just burst right up through the hole. And it's got to be a concern, Danny Werfel, right now.
Psychologically, LSU's defense responds to the missed field goal try from LaFleur.
Boy, and they're going to get great field position. Florida's got a kick from the back of their end zone.
And do you kick to Kinnison? I don't know. In the past, Steve Spurrier has said, I'll kick to the best. Ask Tamarick Vanover of Florida State. He had 2 run back for touchdowns a few years ago. Kinnison says back off. A poor punt that drops at the 36. Just a 30-yard punt, but no return from Kinnison. LSU in Florida, scoreless. 6:32 remaining opening quarter. Back after a word from your local SEC station. This is Jefferson Pilot Sports' first opportunity to come into Baton Rouge since we've been covering Southeastern Conference football. Grady Pridgeon, by the way, our Vice President of Sales for Jefferson Pilot Sports, is watching this game from the hospital during a short stay. We wanted to say that we're thinking about you, Grady, and wish you a quick recovery. 1st and 10 Tigers. Howard, a little low with that one. Pass intended for Eric Smith. Over there to provide coverage, Fred Weary sophomore out of Jacksonville. And Hanks is just everywhere on the field.
He's all over the place. You know, you talk about the psyche of this game. Really important for LSU to get in scoring position, get some points. That first one could have taken a lot of momentum out of them. Florida's been in this situation so many times. We watched them against Tennessee when they were just getting killed in that first half. So you've got really two different teams when you look at team psyche, Tim.
You can't put it on the ground against the Gators. They go for the jugular in a hurry. Second down 10. Play fake by Howard. Pass incomplete and a mix-up that time on the route as Shedrick Wilson was matched up against Demetric Jackson. It's rare that you see difficulty between Howard and Wilson, though he is talking with Eddie Kennison at this point about that particular route.
Yeah, 2 plays in a row. The last coverage was a busted one. Now watch Howard. He went to Wilson last time on that favorite player. When you talk about favorite receivers, he went to Wilson that last time. And, of course, he's got Kennison on the other side.
LaFleur, the tight end, sets up at a fullback spot. Watch him on the cross. Pass for Shedrick Wilson. A lot of bumping over there. Anthone Light, the cornerback, was over there covering, and there was a lot of contact.
Oh, boy, a lot of contact. This is a drive off. Now watch. He's sitting low. You see that good position now. Drive off the line. There's the stuff on the line. Now he can't get back off the line. The pass is thrown deep, and there was a lot of contact on that back play, too, with Wilson.
Yeah, Anthone Light, and then, of course, Lawrence Wright, both jamming Shedrick Wilson, which is something you don't normally see from Florida.
Well, they do such a great job at that.
Kessler to punt it away, leading the SEC. Riedel Anthony is back deep. Kessler did have a block last week against South Carolina, but still is averaging just under 40 per punt. Angling for the sidelines, and he gets the job done. Florida will have it at the 6-yard line. Our Around the SEC is presented by Morgan Keegan, the South's premier investment firm. Mississippi State and Auburn, that game, of course, moved to Saturday because of the hurricane that forced the postponement of that game. Tennessee and Arkansas, a huge game for both LSU and Florida in many respects. 2 great running backs, Graham and Madre Hill, as they meet today in the Ozarks. Danny Werfel, Heisman hopeful, sets up shop on the patio of the Gators. Nice run beyond the 12-yard line for Elijah Williams, his first carry of the afternoon.
And that's what you want to do on offense. A lot of times quarterbacks, when they get a little bit flustered and they're under pressure, you go back to that running game. And Florida has a great running game. We think of their passing game all the time, but they've got an outstanding running game, and they do it a lot, too. They're about 50-50 balanced.
We're full and over right now. How often have we seen that this deep into a first quarter? Williams. Oh, Elijah Williams staying up. Gilliard and Rogers finally with some help from Northern bring him down, but he's close to the first down, maybe a yard shy. It'll be 3rd and short coming up.
Boy, and so many times we've seen Danny Werfel in this situation, and you know the gambler that Steve Spurrier is. He doesn't care where he is. Run that little play action in there, get that one-on-one situation, and launch it perhaps.
3rd down, a yard to go. Werfel runs the down-the-line option again. Oh, it's worked twice. Elijah Williams, the beneficiary this time. James Gilliard and Clarence Linton combine on the tackle.
And that's a good play to call in that situation. Everybody's jammed in the middle. Werfel comes down the line, throws it to Williams, and then Williams just darts for that corner. They have the flags out there that mark the first down yardage. He's just got to make that spot.
It's very apparent that Spurrier recognizes that pass rush from the corner because he's altered his offensive scheme to some point.
Certainly has.
Jefferson Pilot Sports Scoreline. North Carolina surprisingly out to a quick start in the ACC. Williams runs right into Stansberry. That's the 4th tackle of the day for Alan Stansberry.
Yeah, blitz here. Stansberry's going to first. Watch right through the middle. Woom came right up there. Look at the pressure there. Nowhere to go. Now don't let go. Make sure you hold on. But it's almost like it's a Florida offense that hasn't come out. This is not the Florida offense that we're used to seeing. Pass, pass, pass down the field.
But that coming out party, when it comes, comes with bells and whistles. 4 wide receivers for the Gators. Quick look-in pattern. Riedel Anthony. Torrey James just won't let him go. And that's how Florida beats you. Those quick slants, and then the receivers that can do so much after making the catch.
Oh, you talk about team speed. They have it. Look at the defense the last 3 years. Oh, boy. Yards per game.
Their problem has been the big play. Through the years, even with their top defenses, they have relinquished big plays. Of course, this team has a few big plays within. Third down 4. Werfel. Oh, that's a beauty, but that one's on the ground. They will rule it complete at the 33 and out of bounds. It's Ike Hilliard. Ruled a catch and then a fumble. Possession, Florida's at their 33.
Now watch how close this is. Good pressure up the middle. Now watch him. Now when he turns, Hilliard gets hit. Now the ball's free right now. No one can get it. His feet actually kick the ball out of bounds.
Albie Crawford making that hit. Thought it was a good call. He brought it down. Then the hat of Crawford knocking the ball free.
And Tim, you think 3 minutes and 19 seconds, and that's Florida's, I believe, their first down.
Their second.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't many.
Werfel rolls right. Hilliard. And the native Louisianian Ike Hilliard now on the receiving end of a couple of passes for first downs. Ike Hilliard with a true Louisiana bloodline. His brother Ivory played here, and his uncle was the great Dalton Hilliard.
Right, you got to play man-to-man coverage when they got 4 wideouts, and you can just kind of see it. You almost get the feeling that Florida found the right key for the offense, and they got the motor starting to crank.
Remember, this drive got underway at the Gator 7. Now at their 47. Quick out, Elijah Williams. Down to the Tiger 42-yard line after a gain of 11, and you get the feeling now that Werfel and his arsenal back in time.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's almost like they found the right key to start the engine, because now all of a sudden it's 8 yards, 10 yards, 10 yards, and they're moving the ball very consistently. And look how quickly they've gotten in LSU's territory.
Steve Spurrier, boy, this is a guy won the Heisman, was the quarterback, married his high school sweetheart. He's a scratch golfer. What more do you want in life?
A little quick audible on the line. LSU showed blitz.
Quick drop, a roll left. Werfel for Anthony. Incomplete. Torrey James is asking for offensive pass interference on that incidental contact down at the 15-yard line.
Well, it's an interesting call. It could have been called that because the defender, Anthony, was underneath him and fell over top of him. Watch the interception try right here.
Little leg whip there?
Yeah, it's just a touch.
Torrey James happy to be back in the lineup. He was injured, you'll recall, on an interception that he made 3 weeks ago against Mississippi State. Jaquez Green has come into the game. Number 12 in a wideout position. Werfel on 2nd and 10 to a wide open Williams. Elijah Williams down to the LSU 24. 17 yards for Elijah, who was an outstanding pass receiver coming out of the backfield.
Boy, and what a great read by Werfel that time. Going to get pressure from his left side. It's on the left side of the screen. See the pressure coming in, just dump it off to the back. And they know that that speed kills. They've got such great speed. When you talk about Fred Taylor being third deep on the charts, that's hard to believe with his speed.
Taylor's had some shoulder problems. That's why he's not seen time as yet. Double tight end, Nunn and Allen. 10th play of this drive for the Gators. The reverse to Anthony. Tigers were ready for it. Greg Hill, number 25, freshman from Mansfield, had a concussion against Rice, was unable to play last week in Columbia, South Carolina.
I know all these Florida players know where they're going, but I'll tell you, the offensive mind of Steve Spurrier just amazes me. When you're coming down, you're running past out of the flat. I mean, you're doing all kinds of things. All of a sudden, you're running reverse. Then you can run long. You just got so many different weapons.
Look at that. At one point, to add to that stat you see graphically, they had 10 straight possessions for touchdowns from the second half of Tennessee to the first half of the Ole Miss game last week. 2nd and 8. Williams. Boy, you get that penetration beyond that front forward wall of LSU's, and then that gap really opens up. 7 yards for Elijah. Pat Rogers made the stop.
Now watch LSU. You're going to see them get all up in the line, and they get stuck right there, and there's a little seam, and bang, he's right through it. Now there's no linebackers because they're stuffing up in the holes, and he just pings through there for about 7, 8, 9 yards.
3rd down, a yard to go. Williams hops outside. That's the 1st down. Greg Hill comes up again to bring him down. Just inside the Tigers' 10-yard line.
Tim, you see Steve Spurrier's offensive machine is really starting to crank now, but LSU is not giving up the big play right now. They're making them earn every chance they get down here.
They don't kick field goals, though. You know, you just look at it, 26 chances, 21 touchdowns, only 1 field goal. They cash in for 7, not 3. Werfel. Incomplete, intended for Ike Hilliard. Boy, you load Doring and Hilliard on the same side, and that can be tough for any secondary to deal with.
Boy, you're talking about man-to-man coverage. You've got to play man-to-man coverage out there. They flood a zone. They run so many receivers out into the zone. They've got 1 deep, 1 cutting underneath, and 1 coming across.
Florida must get the touchdown. On this drive, they can't pick up a 1st down without benefit of the touchdown. 2nd down. Werfel to the corner. Incomplete. Had to hurry just a bit. Clarence Linton was over to provide coverage.
Boy, Hilliard really had great separation that time. Watch this. He's going to kind of plant and dig to the corner now. The defensive back is beaten right there. The pass is just long. As you said, Werfel under a lot of pressure because LSU is blitzing somebody almost every time.
They don't necessarily have to blitz in most cases because their defensive ends do such an outstanding job.
Where do you hear this crowd on 3rd down?
They're on their feet at Tiger Stadium. 4 wide receivers for Florida. Shotgun. Here comes LSU with a blitz. Markers down. Doring incomplete.
Oh, and if it's offsides, it's going to kill LSU. They came up with a big play. Now were they lined up in the neutral zone? Or did someone on the offense move?
Now, these are the kinds of mistakes that are the difference in being a contender or a pretender. Dick Burleson, crew chief, the referee this afternoon. Well, you just don't want to give a machine offensively a second chance like this.
Lined up in the neutral zone, 5 yards, repeat 3rd down.
The Tigers ends, if there's one downfall to Gilliard and Northern, it's many times when they're trying to rush off the edge, they'll line up in that neutral zone.
Yes, they get as tight as they can on the ball. Now you've given Danny Werfel another try.
Option Williams, it's open. Touchdown, Florida. That's the 3rd time they've utilized the option. It has been there every time, but Williams with a tremendous cutback to get away from pressure.
That's exactly what it was. He was going to run to the corner. See, they make him pitch it quick. Now watch this plant of that right foot and drive back inside, and he knows exactly where that end zone is.
3rd touchdown for Elijah Williams this year. Bart Edmiston will come in for the point after.
Boy, and you talk about mistakes killing you. That was a huge mistake. They'd held him to a field goal try. They give him another down, and they capitalize on it.
A 94-yard drive, and life is back in order for Spurrier and Werfel. We'll return after this message from your HardQuest Auto Parts. 7-0 Florida leading LSU. Just 16 seconds left in the opening quarter with Bob Kessling and Dave Rowe. I'm Tim Brando. Matt Teague will kick off for the Gators.
Jim, this is one area where LSU can really get back the momentum. got great returns. They got great special teams. They need to come back and get something. You look at a 16-play drive, 94 yards, 2 huge mistakes, and they were 4 of 4 on third down conversions on that drive.
They're not going to kick to Kennison, are they? They just won't do it. Ball goes out of bounds. They'll have to try it again as the marker flies at the 24-yard line.
Oh, we got another flag out there. We're having a little scuffle, little fisticuffs out there in the middle.
Could have a personal foul coming up as you see the officials talking.
Now, they could have the ball at the 35 as a personal foul.
That's right.
Get the ball at midfield.
So rather than the 35, they could get the ball at midfield. You're absolutely right. That's what Jerry DiNardo wants to know about.
Well, he just signaled offsides on the kick team. I didn't see that flag. I saw the ball go out of bounds. The flag is there, obvious. And then I saw a little scuffle up in the middle, and that's where the other flag came out. I don't see one. Oh, yes, I do. Back on the 35-yard line.
Greg Hill and Jason Bartley had tied up.
Yeah, there is a flag back on the 35 where they kicked from. Look at Steve saying, you mean they're all against us?
All right, we have a kick out of bounds. The ball's on the 35. We have a dead ball, personal 15-yard penalty against the kicking team. First down.
That's Bartley matching up against Hill. So, okay, fine. You don't kick to Kennison. LSU still manages midfield.
And LSU has got to start to capitalize. They've gotten 2 golden opportunities and come away with nothing.
Let's go down to Bob Kessling.
Jamie Howard last week, Tim, as you guys have mentioned, was knocked out of the game against South Carolina. They checked him, went back into the game. They've been very concerned this week during practice. He's got a pro cap, which is a foam rubber thing on his helmet that he's been wearing all week in practice. Not wearing it today, but he is wearing a specially made helmet that's water pressurized because they're still concerned about the effects from that concussion.
Wright comes up to make the stop on Robert Toomer, something we haven't mentioned. LSU with all of these opportunities, but we haven't seen much of Cleveland or Falk today. That is not good news for Howard's running game, which has really made LSU something special already this season. We come to the end of 1 quarter at Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge. Florida leads it 7-0.
Ladies and gentlemen.
7-0 Gators. Tim Brando, Dave Rowe, and Bob Kessling, who's down on the sidelines. Bob?
Just checked on Kevin Falk's situation. He hadn't played in that first quarter. He has a pulled groin muscle. They say it just didn't respond. He went through warm-ups. They hoped that maybe it would loosen up a little bit enough that he could play. He is very, very, very doubtful for this game.
And you add the banged-up Kendall Cleveland to that, and that's forcing Howard to have to go up top a little more than he would like. And he is upset with Eric Smith on that route. That pass was thrown hurriedly, but one that should have been caught by Eric Smith.
Again, right here in the bottom, that's a perfect pass, well thrown. It just went right between his hands. Got to catch those. So got to concentrate.
Those gaps are going to be there.
Yeah.
And, LSU felt, we talked with Morris Watts about the short passing game, which he felt was tantamount to any success today.
Yeah, he said they play soft on us on those little short things. We've got to take advantage of the underneath game. They did on that play.
Innocent in motion. Howard looks to the corner. That one is picked off. Dangerous pass taken away by Fred Weary. Weary with great speed down the sidelines inside the LSU 10. Shedrick Wilson finally able to run him down. 61 yards on the return.
Boy, a long pass into a lot of coverage. Top of your screen, you're going to see it. Little out and curl right there now. And out, but look how close the defender. He's right there where he is. Now, get that ball, break away, and watch the blue shirts get in front of him. There's one. There's two. Here comes another one. Look at all the blue shirts. It's like a caravan going down the sideline.
56-yard return on the interception.
Boy, does that sting. Oh, that just really stings you.
And when the Gators get a turnover, they turn it into 7.
That's right. You said they don't kick field goals.
This team does not kick field goals. Trips to the right for Florida. Doring with a marker down. LSU may be guilty of being offsides yet again.
Boy, if they lined up in the neutral zone, that is a killer because it's a free play. You throw it even if it gets intercepted. That's the call.
I really felt that Gabe Northern coming off that edge may have been guilty. coming off the corner.
Well, Tim, you want to get up on the line. Look, here comes Torrey James. He comes way up in front of the other corner. Maybe it's him. And you see in the middle there, you see a lot of bodies. But really,
Offside,
you have got to
lined up in the neutral zone.
You can't do that.
The distance to the goal line. Repeat first down.
See, I think it's Northern up at the top of your screen coming off that edge. There you see our lead first quarter stats. The poor rushing yardage for LSU is something they must solve. Total yards, the Gators with 90. Most of that coming off that last drive. Taylor and Evans in the backfield for Werfel. Now you give him 4 tries from this distance. Taylor, touchdown, Florida.
Fred Taylor carried for the touchdown for the 21.
Well, you get Jackson in the opening series. Williams on the 94-yard drive. Well, a quickie for Fred Taylor.
Quick, just power, straight right ahead, big man on big man, just find a little seam, makes a little cut right there, gets behind one of those big tackles. I think that was Collins and Young that he got behind and just kind of rolls into the end zone. But boy, Florida makes you pay for mistakes. They quickly capitalize.
Matt Teague will hold for Bart Edmonston's point after. This is the only opportunity he really gets in the game.
Yeah.
Not many opportunities for 3 when you're kicking for the fun and gun. That's an easy letter. Danny Werfel makes them pay with some help inside from a troika of wide receivers. The Florida Gators lead it by a score of 14-0. Coming up next week, the Georgia Bulldogs. Randall Godfrey's defense trying to get the Dogs back on track against the Vanderbilt Commodores. 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central Time on most of these SEC stations. Danny Werfel engineering a 94-yard drive, and then off the turnover, again the Gators turn it into 7. Teague's kick will come down to Kennison, 5 yards deep. LSU will start at the 20, and another marker comes down. And Twilley got tied up that time, and I believe LSU will be backed up as he is flagged. He had a meeting with Demetric Jackson near the 25-yard line.
Boy, and Shedrick Wilson walked out there and turned around and said, "Don't do that. That costs our team." I think it's going to be a personal foul.
Yeah, you don't want to lose your composure. And again, Florida, as we mentioned at the very top, has been in this situation so many more times than this LSU team. That was a concern for DiNardo. He told us, frankly, our guys have never been in a position this deep into a season where the game was as significant as this game is.
And it's huge. It's got great significance. And you've got to capitalize on those opportunities. Twice, LSU has had golden opportunities. One time at midfield, and, of course, one on the interception. So they've had 2 tremendous opportunities to get points. They came away with nothing on either one of those.
Yeah, you're right. A missed field goal, and then they had an opportunity after their defense
We have an illegal block in the back on the receiving team. After the ball was touched, before the ball was dead in the end zone. So it's from the 20-yard line, 1st and 10.
Tigers penalized 10 yards.
So that backs them up to the 10-yard line. And then after the 36, after having the ball at the 36, the Gators shut them down. They were 3 and out, and it's been all Florida ever since.
Well, really important drive right here for Jamie Howard. He's got to get something cranked up. He's got to make some first downs. He's virtually got no rushing game.
Without Falk, Cleveland and Toomer getting the bulk of the carries today. This is Robert Toomer running right into David Bernard again.
Bernard gets up. He's got a lot of emotion in that middle. You know, as you said, they replaced some tremendous players in there. I thought Carter was probably one of the best down linemen that I've ever seen in college football.
3 of them in the NFL. 6 starters on that defense gone. And, you can really feel for Bobby Pruitt, the defensive coordinator. It's been easy pickings on the Gator defense because their offense gets so much publicity, but he says, we're not that bad.
That's right. He's still got some key players.
To this point, he's prophetic with that statement. 2nd and 10. Howard looking long. Smith, the sprinter, overthrown. Fred Weary was there to cover. Let's go down to Bob Kessling. Bob?
Right outside where we're standing now is the LSU locker room. there's a wall in the LSU locker room that has all the big games that's ever been played and won for LSU. Let's call it the game wall. They added one game this year already. That was the huge win over the Auburn Tigers, 12-6. They're trying to add another game today, but right now these Tigers are down to the Florida Gators and in trouble, it looks like.
Truth be known, LSU felt they had won the last 3 meetings with Auburn, just not on the scoreboard. This is a Gators team that has really throttled them the last few years. Howard looking for Wilson. That pass nearly picked off. He airmailed that one. Lawrence Wright, the strong safety, was over there, had a chance for the pick.
But one of the concerns that LSU coaching staff had last week was Jamie Howard was just a touch long on all those long passes he's been overthrowing, and he continues it today. Throwing that deep pass, he's just about 2 strides off.
Howard missed his last 4 passes today, and you see Riedel Anthony back deep awaiting the punt from Chad Kessler, who will get it off at his end zone. Yet they said on tape that Howard was missing by a step and a half on almost all of those passes that were overthrown.
When you look at the position that Florida's going to get, they're coming hard.
Line drive punt. Anthony must let it bounce. Tigers get a break with the roll here as Florida will start from their 41-yard line. It has been a most difficult week in the Florida Panhandle, as most of you know. Our thoughts go out to the thousands of people in that area, along with South Georgia and South Alabama affected by Hurricane Opal. Relief efforts are ongoing, and you too can help. Contact the American Red Cross at 1-800-HELP-NOW. Cash donations are needed and appreciated. I've spent a lot of time in that Fort Walton, Destin Beach area, and they have been hit with some devastation. Hurricane Aaron just a couple of months ago, and now Opal. Our prayers are with you. 1st and 10 for the Gators from their 40-yard line. Werfel going for the home run pitch to Anthony. Linton may have gotten a hand on that one.
Oh, Linton he was circling under it like a center fielder. He should have come up with it. I think, is that Werfel down? No, it's not Werfel, but someone's down. Looks like maybe one of the linemen is down on the field. But Linton should have had the ball.
Well, he has one interception and should have had another, if you'll recall, back in the first quarter. That's number 75, Donnie Young, the right guard out of Venice, Florida. Bob Kessling has more on Donnie.
He's had an ankle problem all week. They hope to have played him about 60% of the game today. They've already re-wrapped it once. So Donnie Young is all banged up on that Florida offensive line right now.
This is an offensive line that really came together the same year. 4 of them senior laden. You look at Odom and Reggie Green, Jeff Mitchell, all of those guys have been around for a long, long time, and they give Werfel the time necessary to put this fun and gun in the right position.
Well, I'm sure Danny Werfel's going, when he listens to me, he's going to say, boy, I appreciate getting compared to Donnie Young, but I saw that 7. But watch Linton in the middle here. That's an interception all the way. Anthony almost takes it away from him, but Linton should have had the interception.
Opportunities blown by LSU have really been devastating, and the Gators with yet another opportunity to cash in. From their 40, it's 2nd down and 10. Werfel again going deep. Hilliard incomplete. Bernard Walker right there with him at the 25-yard line. Bernard Walker may have gotten away with one. There was a late push as Hilliard hit the deck. Now he's going to shake his hand here as an act of good sportsmanship, but this could have been a flag.
Watch the tail end of this. Hilliard, good motion down on the bottom now. Watch him coming off the line. Now watch the tail end of this play. The ball's overthrown. Now, just a little push at the end. Oh, boy.
You know, you just don't want to make those kinds of mistakes. You've got them 3rd and 10. Big game situations, you must mature into them. Werfel for Doring. That's his specialty. He's the possession receiver that Werfel will look to on down and distance. Greg Hill, the strong safety, made the tackle.
Good play by those big linemen up front to give Werfel. They picked up the blitz. They were coming on the outside. Stansbury got that pressure. But Doring, that possession receiver, always comes down. He's got great hands. He was a walk-on. Earned a scholarship, of course. Oh, I'll tell you, if you want to be an offensive football player, a lineman or a wide receiver, you want to play with Steve Spurrier.
From the LSU 41. Gators with an audible. Desatel is coming. Werfel fires. Has his man at the 29-yard line, Jaquez Green, freshman out of Fort Valley, Georgia. 13-yard pickup, and the Gators' juggernaut is underway.
Well, you talk about blood in the zone. This is it. 3 wide receivers, one out quick, one a little bit deeper, and one curls at about 12 to 15 yards. Bam. Werfel's got that strong arm. He doesn't have quite the arm that Spurrier wants him to have, but he's got a good strong arm, and he finds him.
Yeah, Steve is never completely satisfied.
I know. There's not a team in America wouldn't like to have Danny Werfel. And Steve says, well, he's not quite the quarterback I want. A little bit more rotation, a little bit more step forward, a little more zing on the ball. Werfel out for Doring again, incomplete. Walker again matched up with him as they go with that fade pattern. Werfel and Doring roommates, and they've gone over the game plans the day before, and in many cases that's one of the reasons you see in down and distance they know exactly how to get together. Very similar to the relationship that Jamie Howard has with Shedrick Wilson. Absolutely. You know, I was looking at those big linemen there blocking for Werfel. They've got a real distinct stance. They call it the Hanna chair after John Hanna. He sits, it's almost like you're sitting in a rocking chair. You're in the up stance, and you're going to pick him up. It's a very strong pass position.
2nd and 10. Out of the I formation, Werfel, little outlet pass to Sean Nunn, the tight end. He gets away from Denard Walker. Finally stopped at the 26 as Northern comes over there to polish up. We talked about the matchup between Northern and Jason Odom.
Boy, this is a big head play. Watch this now. Watch the tail end of this. Does he quit there? No, look at him scampering to get across the ball. All of a sudden he breaks free. Bam, I'll get another hit on him. I tell you, that's the one thing that, I mean, that's one of the many things that I like about Gabe Northern. He never quits on a play. He doesn't look downfield and say, oh yeah, he's going to be tackled. He's always running hard.
It's one of the best defensive linemen against a Lombardi finalist offensive lineman. Gators are 6 of 7 in 3rd down conversions. Werfel with time. Doring again. Down to the 3-yard line. Talby Crawford and Clarence Linton combined.
I'll tell you, I was watching that matchup again with Northern and Odom, and it's a great matchup. Gabe Northern's got that outside speed. Now what he does on the play is he tries to run him up and then come back underneath him, and Odom with that good stance. Doring on a cut across the middle. He's in that seam in front of the zone. Boom, down to the 3-yard line. Florida's on the attack again.
First and goal at the 3-yard line.
LSU's defense recognizing that they must come up with a stop here. We still have over 11 minutes left in the first half. Wide open for Taylor. He'll waltz in.
Taylor carries the touchdown.
Everything going Florida's way now. Everything. They just turned it around. Like I said, they found the key, put it in the engine. The engine started to run. LSU did not capitalize. Watch this little bounce out right here. Good move into the line. Boom. Get the outside. Use that speed. Nobody there.
Taylor's 2nd touchdown of the day. That Gator band firing up some percussion.
Well, Tim, you think right now, what does LSU have to do to get back in this football game? Put some drives together. But it's amazing how much you take out of an offense when you take out your running game. They virtually have no running game.
They haven't really initiated a ground game since that Mississippi State matchup. And I distinctly get the feeling that Jerry DiNardo has to see his team regain some sense of composure if they're to hang in the rest of this half. Well, that's one way to get in free, huh?
Just hope the fire keeps up.
Yeah, well, the bubble has burst on LSU very early in this game today.
Now, wait a minute.
Very early.
Now, wait a minute. If LSU can put together a drive, get some first down, you got to realize how much they're crippled by not having that rush game.
Oh, there's no question.
Oh, it killed them.
But the mistakes that have been made, particularly on the last kickoff return, shows a lack of composure early. Kennison gets out to about the 12 or 13-yard line. Tony George, number 1, the freshman, out of Cincinnati, Ohio, down to make the tackle. And again, LSU in a must drive, trailing 21-0. Gators can score in waves. This time it's a 2-minute, 15-second drive, and Taylor with his second touchdown run. Just plain awesome. The Florida faithful, and why not? Offensively, they are a juggernaut. And their defense has certainly confused Jamie Howard today. Look at that, just 64 yards in total offense for the Tigers. Howard going back the other way to LaFleur, who drops one. And that's a preseason All-SEC tight end.
Big guy. David LaFleur, 6'7", 279 pounds. Good blocker. They really need to get him down in the middle. He does such a great job, but he's got that bad knee, can't plant, just can't go downfield. He's one of those players that's not playing at 100%.
I really felt that after the LaFleur missed field goal that they responded very well. That defense shut down Florida. But then after LSU received the punt, had the ball at the 37-yard line, and were 3 and out.
Oh, that was the killer.
From that point forward, they've had their heads down.
Yeah.
Second down and 10 for LSU.
Yeah, it's regroup time. It's time to take a deep breath and say, hey, let's get back into our flow. We can get back into this game.
Howard stepping up, now tucking it. Jamie Howard up to the 20-yard line. 7-yard pickup for Howard, who did relinquish, of course, and LaFleur is limping off. That's bad news for LSU again.
This is a good play by Howard. Step up through the line, have confidence in those big linemen. They give him a little bit of room, and he finds it now. Right now, you take a deep breath saying, ooh, don't get hit in the head after last week. But LaFleur went down, and boy, does that take it out. That fella, he's just had trouble with that knee all year long. Just cannot plant and get inside.
A posterior cruciate ligament problem, and he's very unhappy. Chris Hill is not in the game, will not play. He's a scratch. So Savoie, their only tight end. That pass incomplete and a marker down. Kennison, the intended receiver. Pass interference against Anthony Lott will be called, the junior out of Jacksonville.
Well, I want to tell you something. If I was Jamie Howard, I'd go to that play a lot. Kennison on that little post route. They've missed him twice. They've had to interfere with him twice. It's been first downs twice. You see him in the slot. Watch this. When he plants right here, boom, he comes back inside. You see right there? He's wide open. See, the safety is drawn to the weak side.
He's shaking his head. He doesn't appear to be in a good frame of mind. Senior out of Westlake, Louisiana.
Good pickup here by Cleveland. Bam, pick him up in the hole. Don't let Hanks get that rush in there. Hanks is all over. You don't know if he's dropping back or going forward. But that answers a little bit. You've got to put first downs together. You've got to get a drive. You've got to get back in this football game.
First down, 10 LSU from their 32. Kendall Cleveland gets the carry. He's up to the 35-yard line. And Bob, I'm sure, on top of that situation with LaFleur.
That's exactly. Well, check on that, too. Tim, also want to tell you about on the back of the Florida helmets, you see a GE. That's for Gene Ellenson, who was a World War II hero, and also from 1960 through 69 was an assistant coach at Florida. He was also an inspirational leader. In fact, Coach Steve Spurrier brought him in to give inspirational pep talks to the Gators. And so GE is in honor of Gene Ellenson, still very much with the Gators, even though he passed away in March.
That's a nice story. Second down and 6. You love to have that inspiration. And that's another story of it in intercollegiate athletics. Again, Jamie Howard overshoots his man, Kennison, and I get the impression again there's confusion over the route being run.
Absolutely. Kennison pulled on an out pattern. He looks like he may be just limping a shy coming back there, but he pulled up about the 50-yard line and did a little bit of curl outside, and he just was nowhere near the play. Again, watch on the bottom. See, he kind of pulls up right in here, right there. Well, he gets jammed. Now, the pass is on its way, and you can see he's nowhere even close to it. Watch Jamie Howard. Oh, man, you've got to go long. Now,
I think he's saying, you know, don't break your pattern because of being hit.
Exactly. Keep on digging.
Howard's missed his last 6 passes. This one is incomplete. Right through the hands of Eddie Kennison at the 45-yard line. Lott, the cornerback, was right over there.
And that's a short arm. I hate to say that. Eddie Kennison's a tremendous football player, but he short-armed that. That pass was well thrown. It was in there. He had to go up, but he kind of pulled his arms down a little bit. Got to come up with those.
The announcers for today's game are selected and compensated by Jefferson Pilot Sports. This broadcast is a copyright presentation. Any use of the broadcast without the express permission of the Southeastern Conference and Jefferson Pilot Sports is prohibited. Riedel Anthony back deep as Kessler prepares to punt. Should get it off around the Tigers' 25-yard line. Nice punt against the wind. And it gets a Tigers roll inside the Gators' 10, down at the 8-yard line. 56-yard punt by Kessler, who leads the SEC in punting. 9:03 remaining in the opening half. Well, the Gators have taken a bite out of LSU early in today's game. They're leading at 21-0, but no one has left Tiger Stadium. They're hoping their defense can get them back in it. Warfel from the 8-yard line. Quick pitch. Terry Jackson stopped at the 9, maybe the 10, a gain of 2 if that. Talby Crawford making his 5th tackle of the day. Number 9, senior from Orlando, Florida's Oak Ridge High School.
And Tim, you hate to talk about series where it's really important. It's important right now for LSU to stop them, get good field position, get that ball where they can get a score back for themselves.
Other scores, Mac Brown's team up on Virginia at halftime. Ohio State up at the half. 2nd and 8 for the Gators. Tigers showing blitz.
Boy, a lot of guys in the box. You see the audible.
Anthony runs the quick slant. Has it at the 15. And has a first down at the 20. It's amazing how quickly Warfel will recognize 8-7 men in the box, then check off into that quick slant.
Oh, exactly, and that's exactly what he does. He gets that separation because you've got to play off him in the corner. You've got to give him a cushion. And what he does is just do that little 5-yard curl. Bang, he hits him. The separation is there. When he turns around, he runs to the corner and gets the first down.
It is a magnificent system. It's been said before, and I'm saying it again. Steve Spurrier has done more for quarterbacks at the collegiate level than any other modern-day coach. Warfel 10 of 19 for 125 yards. Jackson stopped at the 23-yard line. You get a feeling that the Tigers defense has to be thinking maybe not just about a stop, but about a turnover.
Oh, yeah, they've got to be thinking turnover now. Rip that ball out, go to the ball on the tips, hope for an interception, a fumble, something. You know, you talked about Steve Spurrier and those great quarterbacks. It's incredible when you look at the list of quarterbacks that he has had.
And it's interesting to note that it's not just at Florida. I mean, you talk Ben Bennett at Duke, Dave Brown at Duke, guys like Dillwig. I mean, a number of guys at the collegiate level prior to his days in Gainesville. Quick out pattern to Terry Jackson. Cutting back in the arms of Twilley. He manages the 25-yard line. Troy Twilley hauling him down. Number 15, the sophomore from Slidell. You look at career total yards at Florida. Danny Warfel, tutored by the guy that he may pass today, just 100 behind.
And look at those names. Shane Matthews, John Reeves. Boy, what a great player he was. Herwin Bell. Steve Spurrier, of course.
He took his team to 2 major bowls in his 3 years, from 65 to 67. 3rd down and 5. Markers down, could be offsides again.
Oh, is that a killer? 3rd down and 5. You cannot jump off sides. So those things are killing. They've had 2 where they lined up in the neutral zone. Now they get drawn off by voice inflection. That's just the quarterback coming out saying hut, hut, emphasizing that second hut, and then not watching the football.
Offside, defense, 5 yards, replay the down.
Now I thought it was several people, probably Chuck Wiley, 55. Watch, just boom.
See, Northern coming off that edge just appears to have a half step on his side.
So quick.
And Wiley's a plugger in the middle. He was not guilty. That was clearly gave Northern coming off the edge at the corner.
And look at the situation change. Now you got 3rd down and 1. You want 3rd down and 6. Now you got 3rd down and 1. So you give them a free 5 yards.
They're 7 of 8 on 3rd down conversion. Up the middle they go. Jackson, who has been a power-packed runner this year. Tough kid.
Number 22.
And he's up to the 35-yard line. In fact, when you ask of the difference between Terry Jackson and Elijah Williams and Fred Taylor, who got so much ink a year ago, everyone will tell you he'll stick his head in there and plug for you rather than maybe stepping out of bounds and playing more finesse. There you see the play selection. Everyone anticipates that it's just air, not always.
No. LSU putting a lot of people in the box. They've got 8 guys sitting up in the box.
Double tight end for Florida. Werfel lets it fly for Anthony. Torrey James picks it off. Well, they've had 4 opportunities at interceptions. This is their second of the day. Torrey James, the best man-to-man cover guy that LSU has. Senior from Marrero makes the play.
Top of your screen is just a go, man on man. And Torrey James just plays this ball well. It's underthrown. That's really part of the problem. The ball was not thrown far enough, but a big play. Now LSU has got to respond.
We talked about turnover, that had to be what the LSU defense had in mind. Florida doesn't punt that often. They're going to stop. It's usually with a turnover. Cleveland off the left side. Kendall Cleveland up to the 35-yard line. Gain of perhaps 3. Lawrence Wright, the strong safety, coming up to give help.
And you see Jerry DiNardo trying to get back into that running game, trying to get some semblance of a running game. He knows if you go away from the running game, you're going to get pressure like you cannot believe.
LaFleur back into the game. He limped off earlier, you'll recall.
Well, we saw Shedrick Wilson limp off last week, and you know the impact he had.
There you see the rushing yards. LSU outdistanced. The Gators, you know, they may not have that many rushing yards, but they get them at critical times. That down-the-line option has been a big play for them today. Howard for Kennison. That pass thrown behind Eddie. LSU's offense has been out of sync since the first drive that netted them 61 yards in 10 plays led to a missed field goal.
Yeah, he's throwing the ball behind him. Kennison is one of those receivers you've got to hit on the run. He's one of those receivers that once he gets the football, he's a tremendous speed merchant out there. You've got to hit him where he's got a chance to utilize that speed.
So many of the Tigers have been banged up. Eddie Kennison had a virus this week, missed practice. In fact, by Thursday, none of the frontline players had had an opportunity to work together with the first unit. And perhaps that's what we're seeing today. The outcome of not having the ability to work out together as a unit. 3rd down and 7. Howard in trouble. Markers down in an area where holding would be called against LSU. Cleveland gets it up to the 34-yard line.
Well, you look at team speed as we see the flag in the background. I think you're going to find hold. There's the holding against the offense. They'll decline that penalty. Florida will. But it's really interesting team speed. It's incredible what Florida's team speed is.
We invite you to spend New Year's Day at the Outback Bowl in Tampa, Florida. Send a postcard with your name, address, and telephone number to the address on your screen and register to win a trip for 2, including game tickets, hotel, and airfare by Continental Airlines. The winner will be announced during the SEC Game of the Week, November 25th. You've got to be 21 years of age or older to enter. We're at Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge, where Florida leads 21-0. Just over 5 minutes left in the opening half. Kessler will punt it away on 4th down. Riedel Anthony stands at his own 20-yard line.
A lot of people up for Florida. They're coming after it.
Kessler gets it away. Anthony at the 21-yard line. Thrown out of bounds by Smith at the 23 and a marker down. Ooh.
They threw him out of bounds. Surely it wasn't for throwing him out of bounds. Maybe there was a face mask in there. But, I didn't see the face mask tail end, but the flag came flying right at the spot of the tackle.
If personal foul is called here without a face mask, that will really anger the crowd.
5-yard face mask penalty on the return.
All right, so that'll settle the natives down here in Louisiana somewhat.
But you give Florida another opportunity. Let's see if we can see this on the tail end right here. He wants to go outside. He's going to try to fake him inside. Right here, tail end right there. Now get on outside.
He got him. He got him by the lower portion of that face mask as he took him down. 1st and 10, Florida. From the 28. LSU has been penalized mightily today. Pass incomplete. Was intended for Ike Hilliard. Torrey James was over there to provide coverage. We just had the pick a moment ago. Let's go down to Bob Kessling. Bob?
A couple of weeks ago, of course, the Gators had their big game against Tennessee. All week long, Sports Illustrated had a writer with Peyton Manning. Followed him to meetings, followed him to dinner, followed him everywhere. They're expecting to do a story on Manning. But then, of course, Danny Werfel and the Gators bounced back from that 30-14 deficit to knock off Tennessee 62-37. And guess who was on the cover of Sports Illustrated that week? Danny Werfel, not Peyton Manning.
You never know when a star might be born, Bob. Over the middle. That's a tremendous defensive play by Torrey James.
Wow, Torrey James is like a glove on the wide receivers. He's right there, and he's so careful not to put that hand on the back.
Ike Hilliard, the intended receiver again for the Gators.
Well, he's their best one-on-one coverage. It's off to the left of your screen. You're going to see how careful he is not to put his hand on the back. Come in front, right there. Step in front. Look, see his left hand. His right hand is out. Don't put it on the back and knock it down with the left hand like a glove.
That's a clinic.
That is. That's beautiful.
Allen and Nunn, twin tight ends for Florida on 3rd and 10. Werfel, a little pump fake, and now deep. And Lincoln has yet another opportunity to pick.
They got to get him a glove. He's got to have a glove because he's had at least 3 or 4 opportunities. Oh, man, watch Steve Spurrier. He's clapping, but he is not pleased right now. See if the visor comes off.
When he's really not pleased, the visor definitely comes off.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, in his days leaving the USFL, there were those that were critical. As you see Robbie Stevenson ready to punt it away and Eddie Kinnison back deep. There were those that felt that Steve Spurrier shouldn't coach in college because he played too much golf. Well, those days are over. They're not punting to Kinnison. Out of bounds at the 25-yard line. Don't forget, coming up next week, the Georgia Bulldogs, the Vanderbilt Commodores. 12:30 Eastern Time, 11:30 Central. Like Georgia, you talk about a difficult year since we had them the opening week. They lose Mike Bobo after losing Robert Edwards. And now Hines Ward having to shoulder the responsibility of playing his 3rd position this season.
Didn't even start off as a quarterback. Was actually backing up at a running back, and Ward came in, and now he's got to play quarterback each week.
One back set, 3 wideouts for Howard. LSU trying to muster some offense before halftime. Incomplete. Shedrick Wilson, the intended receiver.
Well, I think that went off Wilson's hands. Again, looked as if the ball was thrown. A nice, well-thrown ball on the sideline. I thought Wilson had a shot at it.
It has been mentioned that Jamie Howard is a streaky quarterback. Now, today he's had a few drops, but he's also been out of sync after those drops. He's let some of those drops get in the way, and now he's throwing behind receivers, and he's overthrown a number of receivers deep from last week, and it's carried over into this game as well.
Well, and that coverage has really affected the wide receivers. You know, a lot of this game is mental, and they know that they're going to be covered well. They're going to be hit. They just got to come down with the football. They got to get that mental attitude where they catch the ball when they have to.
Jamie's missed 11 in a row. Now he's in trouble. Howard looking for help, and Wilson provides it at the 28 of Florida.
I don't know that he wasn't over the line. I thought that he had run past the 30-yard line. They've already moved the markers. It was awfully close.
Shedrick Wilson leaves the game. A 38-yard gain, his first completion in 12 tries.
Line of scrimmage is the 35. Watch this. There's the 30. Nope, there's the 35. You're right. Wasn't even close. Florida sure wanted it, though.
Some resourcefulness there from Jamie Howard to his favorite target, Shedrick Wilson, is now out of the game. Cleveland bouncing outside. Boy, that initial surge coming from Mark Campbell allowed Bernard and Lawrence Wright to make that play, and some extracurricular activity after the whistle.
Yeah, they really, Mark Campbell got a great drive into the backfield. He's going against Borderline. Now, Borderline is one of their better offensive linemen. They really like that right side, but Borderline actually got driven into the backfield about a yard.
Well, it just appears now Cleveland's coming out of the game. After almost every play, there's a Tiger coming out that's a little ginger on the leg. I mean, it's amazing. Whether it's Cleveland, Shedrick Wilson a moment ago, LaFleur's checked out. It has been a most difficult week in preparation for LSU with all of the nagging injuries they've had in the wake of that South Carolina game.
Oh, if I'm Jamie Howard, I'm going to Kennison or Wilson.
Second down, 16. Why not Kennison? Good call, Coach Rowe, down to the 17-yard line.
Boy, nice throw by Howard under a lot of pressure. Just delivered a strike in there. Great pressure there by Barnard. He's got the pressure coming up in the middle, but watch this. You're going to see Barnard is in 97 coming up in here, but watch Jamie Howard step forward. Bam, and I mean, he threw a strike out there. This is a huge series. We talked about how they had to get the turnover. They came up with the ball for their offense. Now their offense is driving down. This is a huge series to kind of get your composure, take a deep breath. Jerry DiNardo certainly knows the importance of it.
Confidence means so much for a team playing on its heels in a game of this importance. Howard, quick out. Wilson. Cedric Wilson. Down to the 7-yard line. Demetric Jackson trying to hold on. 9 yards the game.
Well, you talk about well-coached defense, well-coached offense. Watch Wilson on this. Catches the ball out here. Now he's going to try to turn back inside. Break that tackle. No breaking the tackle. These defensive backs, they're just so coached into hanging on. Now a little out in the flat, delivered quick. You see the safety in the corner coming up there. Bam. Now just hold on. Don't let go. And he doesn't.
LSU at home, a 10-point underdog today, trailing by 21 with an opportunity to score before the intermission. Up the middle, Kendall Cleveland down to the 3. That'll give the Tigers a first and goal. Bernard coming in to trip him up.
Boy, and credit Bannock at that time, and Farmouche, center and guard, really got a good drive in the middle. That's sometimes what you got to do. You just got to play smash mouth football. You just got to drive it down in there. Nothing fancy. You just got to play that strength football. Use your big man on big man.
With Hill out, Savoie will come in along with Trey Champagne, who normally plays a guard spot. They have 3 tight ends in the game, and McFarland, 94, the defensive lineman, is in the game at a fullback. They load to the right. McFarland, touchdown! LSU's offense comes out of deep freeze with their own version of the fridge.
6'1", 302-pound freshman, Anthony McFarland. We saw him as a blocker last week. This week he's a wideout.
During practice this week, when they worked on that play, his teammates would give him a standing ovation if he caught it. Well, he just got one from 79,000 plus here at Tiger Stadium.
Well, when you talk about wideouts, this is definitely a wideout. When's the last time you saw a 300-and-some-pound wide receiver? There he is. What a thrill for McFarland. He says, Coach, I can do it every time. And boy, does it turn the game around. You see the crowd starting to get back in it. You see the players not sitting on the bench anymore. They're up standing up. It changes the momentum, and Steve Spurrier knows that you don't want to give teams second chances.
We talked about playing in daylight rather than moonlight, something that the fans aren't used to, but Jerry DiNardo believes they had better get used to.
Success story that we're on today on TV. I think that's the way we have to approach it. And if we want to be the team in the 90s to compete for the Western Division and eventually compete for the conference championship and the national championship, well, we're going to have to get used to our starting times being changed. That's one tradition that we may have to suffer a little bit in the name of moving our program ahead.
Well spoken by Jerry DiNardo, who understands where this program needs to be.
Sure, you got to play. You're going to play major games. You got to play major games. They aren't all going to be played in the dark.
You talk about the winning percentage in the daylight. Games wouldn't be moved to daytime if there weren't a quality opponent facing you at home. That's Anthony, 3 yards deep in the end zone. Look out. All the way to the 40-yard line. A breakdown in special teams by LSU, and that gives the fun and gun better than 62 seconds to work with. Chris Beard finally hauling down Anthony. It's a 41-yard return.
You know what 62 seconds is for Florida? That may not be one score. Sometimes that's two scores.
Confidence-building drive, though, for Jamie Howard. 65 yards the drive. The key pass, as he was resourceful, got away from pressure to find his favorite target, team captain Shedrick Wilson.
Yeah, look at Florida. Up stance. You know it's going to be a pass. They don't run block from an up stance.
4 wide receivers for Werfel. Gilliard with pressure. Werfel gets away. Plenty of room. Well, there's just no support. Once Gilliard misses, there's really no one else there. Well, Werfel made a bundle that time. 19 yards to pick up.
Well, Werfel's a big quarterback. 6'2", about 215 pounds. And he can run. And once he runs, look, they don't leave their coverage. He picks up a lot of yards. Now, they're at the 40-yard line. Not that they're in field goal range by any means, because they don't, as you said, they don't kick many field goals.
Yeah, they don't kick many field goals. 53 seconds left in the half.
Got to get pressure on the quarterback.
Little out, intercepted. Gilliard, Werfel is there, and he gets away. The last cut, Taylor made him make it, and a marker comes down. LSU has it at the 23 of Florida.
Jim, it may be a face mask on the tail end of this penalty.
5-yard face mask penalty against the defense.
And listen to this crowd come alive.
You know, it's been said many times that this is an emotional game. This is all about emotion right here.
Yeah, watch Gilliard. He sees the play. It's out to the flat. Steps in now. Got to get a block. Got to get a block. Got to pick up a block. Makes a nice cut there. Now, great play there by on the backside. That was an excellent play by Fred Taylor. Fred Taylor, he got the face mask, but he really slowed him up.
Down to the 19-yard line. Well, Gilliard rushes inside rather than out. More of a finesse plugger. That time he utilized that aspect of his strength.
Now LSU has got to capitalize on the play. Can't come out with no play and no points.
Howard rolling right will throw it away. Through the end zone.
Ooh, ouch. That hurt. That hurt two players. Look at Kennison. Well, the defensive back, I don't know who that defensive back was on that play. It might have been Lott.
No, it was Demetric Jackson.
Demetric Jackson. Boy, he hit that. He was trying to circle underneath it, and he went right into the back of the end zone, into that fence. Jamie Howard, of course, just throwing the ball away.
Two big pass interceptions in this game. One for Florida, returned 61 yards that led to a touchdown after they already had a 7-0 lead. And now the Tigers of LSU get one from Gilliard, and Gary DiNardo wants a timeout and will get it with 32 seconds remaining. The ebb and flow of this one has changed in the last 6 minutes. The Torrey James interception allowed LSU the opportunity for that last drive that led to 6. And it should be an entertaining half as always. And to host it for you, Bob Kessler.
Tim will check other scores around the country. Of course, some big games going on besides this LSU-Florida. Also, we will check with a couple of former Tiger greats who are here at Tiger Stadium today. And we'll get you up to date on the leading statistical leaders in the Southeastern Conference. All of that coming up at halftime.
Talk about legends. Steve Spurrier at Florida. He was talking about the greats at LSU. Tommy Casanova, I remember he was put on the cover of Sports Illustrated at the beginning of a season, and it said the greatest player in college football. Is that pressure going into a season? Well, the #1 player in America. It said that was before the season got underway under Charlie McClendon. They had some outstanding teams under Coach Mack, who was here 17 years. Casanova is currently running for state senate here in Louisiana. 10. Howard into double coverage for Kennison. May have been fortunate not to have that one picked off.
Oh, I think he made a big mistake there. I think Kennison made a great defensive play. The defender had great position on Kennison. He had the inside. Left to your screen. You're going to see it in the end zone. This ball's thrown up. You see how up it is? Now watch the defender. Great position. Look at Kennison. Go up high.
You know, 3rd down and 10 coming up. And, you know, when you run a play here, you had better be aware of the hash when LaFleur is called on for a 3. Because he's already shown that he's had difficulty dealing with a right hash. This is a 3rd down play with 26 seconds left. Howard, little flare out to Cleveland. He has some room. Kendall Cleveland run out of bounds. Shy of the necessary yardage at the 13.
And again, Tim, it's on that right hash that you mentioned that they had trouble with. Now, what is Jerry DiNardo going to do? Is he going to kick the field goal? He's got to kick the field goal. They need to come away with points. It's such an emotional lift to go in that locker room knowing that you scored last.
What the fans need to realize is that if LSU doesn't get the interception, it's likely Florida winds up with 6. So you're down maybe 28-7
exactly
instead of 21-10 if LaFleur can convert. But it's noteworthy that he's on the right hash again. So he'll need to hook this ball somewhat. He missed an early one from 22 yards.
Ooh, he hooked it. Looked like you off the tee.
28 yards. And DiNardo's troops come away with 10 unanswered points to claw back into it in front of the home folks.
Oh,
and
such a tremendous emotional lift for them. They were almost out of the football game. A lot of people would have given up on them, but no way. They didn't give up on them, and they're back in this football game.
Well, you know, the toughness of this profession when you're a college head coach to realize that you're going to run a play. There's an opportunity that your guy may go out of bounds, then set your field goal kicker up on the right hash, the very spot he was located on when he missed a 22-yarder. The anguish that DiNardo must be going through. And Steve Spurrier, hands on hips, not at all pleased with the turnover committed by Werfel.
And if my mind serves me right, LSU gets the ball second half. They will receive. So again, that's another big emotional lift. Welcome to Death Valley.
Well, the last 10 minutes of this quarter keep the fannies in the seats for the second half. That is very important to LSU's attempt at an upset today.
Well, you talk about mystique coming in and playing here. It's not easy.
LaFleur will kick off rather than Richie. Could be a squibber or sky kick. They angle it for Elijah Williams, who allows the up back to come up with it. Uh-oh. And that is Hilliard. Look out. Coming right back at you. Out of bounds at the 9. No time remaining.
Oh, I thought he got run out of bounds with 1 second.
No time remaining. Boy, Hilliard almost made him pay. Steve Spurrier hasn't left, but DiNardo is carrying the Tigers off immediately. Not a bad idea either, Coach.
Oh, yeah. Get off the field fast. You see Steve Spurrier coming across saying, wait a minute. The clock was down. It was only 12 seconds when it started. And watch right here. I thought he might have stepped out of bounds. That certainly would have stopped the clock. Let's watch his feet right in the tail end of this play. No, he didn't step out of bounds. Not until right there.
65-yard return to close out the half. Let's go downstairs. Bob Kessling. Bob.
Coach, you let him get back in the game a little bit.
Yeah, we were very stupid offensively throwing interceptions, and hopefully we'll quit doing that.
Steve Spurrier, his thoughts on the first half. LSU comes back, scores 10 unanswered points, but still trails Florida 21-10 at halftime. Back with more from Baton Rouge in a moment.
Today's Lee Apparel SEC Game of the Week is brought to you by Lee Apparel. With new styles and colors, you'll like the way you look in Lee, the brand that fits. By Sonic Drive-In Restaurants, who invite you to drive in for a change. By your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, I love what you do for me. By Winn-Dixie, the low price leader. And by Nationwide Insurance. Check the yellow pages for the Nationwide agent nearest you.
been a great day weather-wise for football here in the Bayou. Florida jumps out to a 21-0 lead, but LSU comes back and scores the last 10 points in the first half, and that's where we stand in this very key SEC football game. Welcome back to Baton Rouge, everybody. Been a terrific first half of football as LSU trying to stage the comeback in front of this great crowd here at Tiger Stadium. And they got juiced up again because of this play late in the second quarter. James Gilliard makes a terrific defensive play, steps in front of Fred Taylor, picks off the pass, and sets up an LSU field goal. That really swung the momentum in the crowd back in the Tigers' favor. But the problem LSU has right now on the season, they're averaging 129 yards rushing per game. Look at it today, only 21. Kevin Falk, of course, has not played for LSU because of that groin muscle pull. He tried it in warm-ups, just couldn't go. So LSU has really been hampered in their running attack so far today. But the Tigers still in the game with the Gators as they trail it by a score of 21-10. Now, this has been a terrific game. Let's see some of the other terrific performers in the SEC. The best of the SEC is brought to you by Sonic Drive-In Restaurants, who invite you to drive in for a change. Of course, on a sun-drenched afternoon in the Bayou, the crowd being entertained by the Golden Band from Tigerland, and the Tigers trying to rally against the Gators, down by a score of 21-10. Now it's time for our Nationwide Insurance SEC Scholar Athlete of the Week. He's kicker-punter Matt Hawkins of Auburn University, the graduate student from Pensacola, Florida, has a 3.95 in Auburn's MBA program. Congratulations to Matt Hawkins, our Nationwide Insurance Scholar Athlete of the Week. The Golden Band from Tigerland performing here at Tiger Stadium. And we'll be back to Baton Rouge in just a moment. Front college football here in Baton Rouge is 21-10 Florida. Now it's time for our Jefferson Pilots scoreboard. Third quarter, North Carolina in a crucial ACC game is on top of Virginia 16-14. South Carolina trying to bounce back from the tie with LSU last week, leading at halftime 21-0. And it's Ohio State leading Penn State in a big Big Ten matchup. And Northwestern and Michigan, kind of a surprise. It's tied at halftime 6-6. The Wildcats have been playing tough. At halftime, and it's 21-10, Florida on top, and we'll be back after this word from your local SEC station. Each week, Advanced Auto Parts will be honoring an SEC football student-athlete who gives back to the community. This week's Advanced Auto Parts Community Spirit Award goes to Florida's Lawrence Wright. The junior strong safety for the Gators started the Right Track program, a weekend camp for underprivileged kids in Miami. He's one of 11 players named to the CFA's National Good Works team for his service in the community. Advanced Auto Parts is proud to recognize Florida's Lawrence Wright and will donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation in his honor. The Florida Gators lead the LSU Tigers at halftime 21-10. The honorary captain today for the LSU Tigers, Tommy Casanova, who was a terrific star for these Tigers on both offense and defense, and of course later went to med school while he was playing for the Cincinnati Bengals. Now it's Dr. Tommy Casanova, who was inducted this year into the National Football Foundation and Hall of Fame, and he'll go in December. And we're happy to have Tommy Casanova with us here at halftime. Tommy, I guess so many honors you've had. Where does the Hall of Fame honor stack it?
Well, this is really unexpected, Bob. I mean, this was just a tremendous thrill for me. We went up to South Bend early in the year for the induction, and I met some of the great legends of football. And to think that you're in company with those guys is really a humbling experience.
You know, you talk about your football career all the time. I mean, you were an honor student trying to go to med school, so that made it tougher, didn't it?
Well, yeah, you know, and I've been very fortunate with the family that God blessed me being part of it, that I knew the value of education and that one day football would end and that life would go on. And fortunately, I'm doing something now that I just absolutely love. Working with people and the privilege of being a physician is just a tremendous honor for me.
Tell some of the folks around, people in Louisiana know what you're doing, but tell some of the people around the country what you're doing as an ophthalmologist.
Well, I'm an ophthalmologist, which is an eye surgeon and medical physician, and basically we do cataracts, and which is a vision restoring procedure, and it's immediate, and patients they don't see one day and they see the next. And it's a tremendous technology that I'm privileged to be a part of. We do a lot of eyelid reconstructive type work and plastic surgery and all sorts of things. You name it, we'll do it.
And with lepers too, I read an article about.
Well, I did. There's a leprosarium here in Louisiana that I've done a lot of lid reconstructive work down at the Hansen's Disease Research Center. These are absolutely marvelous people that just picked up a rather bizarre disease. The Hollywood classification and typification of a leprosy patient is grossly distorted. These are wonderful people, just like you and me. They just picked up a funny bacteria.
And today you got your plaque here from the LSU for the National Football Foundation. Congratulations, Tommy, for the great honor and for what you're doing to the Louisiana community, too.
Bob, thank you very much. It's a privilege to be here.
Tommy Casanova, one of the great names in the history of SEC football. Let's go back upstairs now to Tim and Dave.
Thanks, Bob. Casanova now with that gray hair looks a little like a politician now.
Player of the year in 71, gray hair of the year in 95.
It has been an ebb and flow game so far. First quarter, all Florida. LSU seemed to lose its composure at one point, but through turnovers, they've managed to get back into it.
It was a huge comeback for LSU to get the momentum back. Had they not come back, it was going to be a long afternoon, but they came back strong, and it was that Jamie Howard play to Shedrick Wilson that really ignited them and started them.
The Gators had a 94-yard drive after LSU had come up 3 and out, and on a down-the-line option to Elijah Williams, they got the touchdown.
Yeah, that started the avalanche, and you could just tell that Florida was starting to get the momentum.
Then it was Fred Weary with this pick. He would return it 61 yards, and as we said, you give the Gators a turnover, and it turns into 7.
Yeah, it's great field opportunity and great field position, and they always capitalize on it.
This time it is Fred Taylor, the sophomore sensation who, because of Terry Jackson, hasn't been seeing as much playing time.
Yeah, this is another one by Fred Taylor. Go to the outside, use that speed. It looks like the game's over, right? Not with LSU, it's not. The big guy, McFarland, outside. Defensive tackle. Then all of a sudden now, the interception by Gilliard. Now run the ball, get it down in here. Good job there to bring them down to stop the touchdown. This leads to a field goal, and it's 10 unanswered points. You talked about LaFleur curling that ball in there. It was perfect.
And then a 65-yard return as the clock winds down for Ike Hilliard. And it's a 21-10 score. Our forward halftime stats will tell you that Jamie Howard did pick it up somewhat in the latter stages of the second quarter, but they need more in their short passing game.
Well, they have to get their short passing game going, and they've got to have some kind of a semblance of run.
You know, and it's only happened one other time to Danny Werfel. He was intercepted 3 times in his second game against Kentucky. This is the first time it's ever happened in one half.
And it could have been worse. They could have had 4 or 5.
Let's take a look at Rose Rewind. What do you anticipate that these teams must do to keep their advantage going?
Well, for the Gators, it's keep the defense rolling and stop mistakes on offense. For LSU, get that short pass game going and continue to get turnovers. They've been very, very good on getting turnovers.
Number 21, LSU, with 79,000 plus on hand, still in it against the number 3 Gators. We'll be back.
The Lee Apparel SEC Game of the Week is brought to you by Lee Apparel. With new styles and colors, you'll like the way you look in Lee, the brand that fits. By Miller Lite. When you've got the great taste of an ice-cold Miller Lite, life is good. By the Jefferson Pilot Life Insurance Company, the vision to power your dreams. By your local Mazda dealers. And by Burger King, where you can get your burger's worth.
21-10, Florida with the lead at halftime. Moments ago, Bob Kessling had an opportunity to chat with the head coach of LSU, Jerry DiNardo, whose team now has regained composure.
Jerry, the momentum you got late in the second half had to help you.
Yeah, we're not playing very good. Our kickoff team's a disgrace. We got a lot of guys competing, but we got some guys not competing well enough, and we're going to find out this half because Florida's going to compete.
Thank you, Jerry.
Woohoo, those were tough words.
Very succinct and to the point. And truly, that team played with its head down for the latter stages of the first quarter, early stages, really, of the second quarter.
Yeah, it was a huge turnaround. It was a quick turnaround, and it shows you why you never give up in this football game.
And he talked about the kick team, coverage team. They gave up returns of 41 and 65 yards. That's something you don't want to do with the fun and gun. Give them field position at the outset. LSU does receive. Matt Teague will kick it off as we open the second half, and they do go to Kinnison, 2 yards deep. And Kinnison unable to give LSU quality field position as he stopped at the 12-yard line. He was rather tentative coming out of the end zone.
Yeah, I wondered why he just didn't let the ball go out. They would have had it on to 20.
LSU's possessions, that was a critical 61-yard drive that led to a missed field goal after the initial pass interception by LSU. Then a lot of punts in there before that touchdown drive that came after a Torrey James interception, then the field goal coming off the James Gilliard pick. First down 10, LSU at the 12. LaFleur gives motion. Kendall Cleveland to about the line of scrimmage, and that is it, as the Tigers continue to try to establish a running game that has been dormant since the Mississippi State game when Falk rushed for 171 yards. And we've given you the story for those of you that weren't with us in the first half. Kevin Falk, that hamstring giving him just too many problems to really go today, and that is unfortunate for LSU's offense.
Well, it takes a huge weapon out of your game because he's the outside guy. He's the juke guy with the speed to the outside edges, and they just don't have it out there today.
Double tight end with Savoy lining up in the fullback location. Howard quick out to Kennison. Eddie Kennison up to the 22 to 23-yard line. Ben Hanks and James Bates collaborate, and you were talking about the short passing game, trying to initiate that, and they're doing exactly that.
That's what they have to do. They've got to pick up those short passes. They've got to throw. The corners play soft. Steve Spurrier's defense is one of those ones they give, but they don't give you the home run very often. So you've got to take advantage of those short little curls, outs, flat patterns, 8 to 10 yards.
There's Kevin Falk, young man from Karen Crow. Observers believe he may be one of the best before it's done. He may rewrite the record books. Jerry DiNardo says he reminds him of Eric Bieniemy, whom he coached as an assistant under Bill McCartney at Colorado.
Wow, I'd like to just be mentioned in the same breath with Eric Bieniemy.
First down, LSU out to the 23.
Now, if you're in LSU's huddle right now, you're saying, don't make a mistake, don't force the ball in there, play solid, try to get that. And you see Steve Spurrier, he's saying to his defense, come up with a turnover. We want to take the momentum back away from LSU.
Jerry DiNardo told us that time of possession is overrated. What's important is first downs. This is a chains game. If you can move the chains, you're likely to stay in it. Falk out of the game and Cleveland in. And the play fake is to Kendall Cleveland. And Kennison dropped it. Boy, Eddie Kennison has had a couple of drops. You mentioned the short arm job in the latter stages of the second quarter. That's just concentration.
Yeah. But this is how you want to hit him. But Jamie Howard under a lot of pressure there. Barnard again. The big guy in the middle. Look at this. Good swim move. Get pressure on him. Bang. Down he goes. But that's the way you want to hit Kennison on that pass when he's on the dead run. If he hauls that thing in, he's going to pick up 15, 20 yards.
Eric Smith is coming to the game. He joins Wilson and Kennison loaded to the top of your screen.
Shedrick Wilson, that's a big target for Jamie Howard.
Here comes Bates off the corner. Pass is in time to Shedrick Wilson. Up to the 41, maybe the 42-yard line, a 19-yard gain.
Oh, you got to go to him. He's your go-to man. Quarterbacks get a tremendous amount of confidence with receivers. And look, you see him limping again. We saw that all last week. And he's limping again. But again, just a nice little route here. Just kind of turns out. Bang, they hit him. Good separation. Now plant, get upfield, and watch him. Oh, a stretch, but that extra 2 yards.
That was a bad sign last week for South Carolina. The more he limped, the better he got.
Well, you see his average 21 yards.
Chris Beard has come in for him, number 84 in white. He has a couple of catches today.
I wonder how much tape they're going to put on Wilson this time.
On first down, Cleveland, maybe 2. Johnny Church, joined by James Bates, 44, the junior out of Sevierville, Tennessee. James Bates, number 44, his dad played at Tennessee and coached with Steve Spurrier. Steve Spurrier had Jim Bates as his defensive coordinator back in 1990, his first year, and James' dad now is coaching with the Cleveland Browns in the National Football League.
Boy, I'll tell you one thing. You see how nobody stands around him? He does not look happy.
No.
No, he's not happy right now.
You know, it's funny, too, when he plays golf and he's a scratch golfer, he doesn't look too happy with an 8-iron hit within 10 feet. 2nd and 8.
Flag down.
Yep, markers down. We may have motion. That's the preliminary indication that we get.
Boy, those are killer penalties. Again, second down, you've got about 8 yards to go. Got good variety of pass selection.
Dead ball foul, delay of game, offense.
Yep, delay of game. They did not get it off in time.
And that really changes your play selection because you go from second down and about 7 to 8. Now you go second down to 13, 14 yards.
Tigers penalized 5 yards.
Well, DiNardo was incensed at the intermission when he spoke with Bob Kessling. You could tell he was not at all happy. And to have a penalty like that back you up will not help his mood whatsoever.
Well, he knows you've got to play perfect football to stay with Florida and to play and have a chance to win.
2nd and 13. Howard. They flood the zone. Cleveland with the screen with room. Kendall. Cleveland bounces off a couple of Gators. 2 yards shy of the first down at the LSU 49-yard line. That's an 11-yard pickup. He bounced off Dexter Daniels and allowed himself some more room.
Yeah, Daniels had a chance at him here. Daniels is 48. He's got a chance at him right out here. Just doesn't make the tackle. Right in there. Now it's about an extra 5 yards. One thing you've got to really say about the LSU backs is they carry the ball and protect it well. They don't often fumble.
Cleveland, redshirt freshman out of Orange, Texas. 3rd down and 2. 3 wideouts for Howard. Quick drop. Out pattern for Wilson. 1st down Tigers at the Florida 45.
See if Wilson gets up limping again. I'll tell you right now. Yes, he does. Runs back to the huddle. He's got a little limp in his gait. But boy, oh man, he is just a player that plays hurt. He's the team captain. He just wants to be out there. Now look at, did you see what Florida did? They were thinking long. The cornerback, number 24, Fred Weary, he started bailing out, going deep.
Those allowances that the Gators defense will give the opposition many times will play into the hands of the short passing game, and that's what we're seeing in this drive.
Well, you got to be careful though if you're Florida when you play against Florida, because a lot of times they'll bait you into things. They'll kind of invite you to go to somewhere.
The pressure that time coming from Campbell right in the face of Jamie Howard. Pass to Eddie Kinnison. Ball's incomplete. But again, going back to your earlier point at halftime and Rose Rewind, we're finally seeing LSU execute what Morris Watts talked to us about, the offensive coordinator, the short passing game.
I know sometimes they're setup plays. If you get somebody like Kennison out there, you run that quick out, you pick up 5 yards, 7 yards, 7 yards, 5 yards, and all of a sudden he puts that afterburner on and he's down the sideline. And with the speed of a Kennison, now I say him instead of Wilson because Wilson's got that hurt leg.
Both he and Kennison are at the bottom of your screen on 2nd and 10. Trouble. Johnny Church runs him down back at the 42-yard line. The senior from Fort Myers, Florida, in Cypress Lake High School gets a 12-yard loss.
Boy, watch Church on the bottom. He's number 40, excuse me. He's going to get around. He gets good separation with the tackle and runs him down from the backside. He never let the tackle get into his body. He kept that separation.
He's just coming off a pulled muscle, Johnny Church. Didn't seem to be any hitch in his giddy up that time.
Not at all. And look at the change of complexion. You were looking at 2nd down. They're on the 45-yard line. 2nd down at 10. Now all of a sudden it's 3rd down and a half a mile.
3rd and 22. Jerry DiNardo talks about big plays. There are 7 big plays in any game if you're going to win. This is clearly one of those circumstances.
And watch Kennison. He's got the speed.
Howard flushed out again. Throws into traffic. Should have been picked off. Dexter Daniels had an open 60 yards in front of him, and he couldn't come up with it.
Oh, you can't throw a ball like that. You're running to your right, you're going to throw across your body. It was a terrible pass. They were really lucky. They really avoided one of the big plays because Dexter Daniels had zeroed in on it, and he had nothing in front of him.
Kessler to punt it away. Riedel Anthony is back deep.
Well, we don't talk a lot about Kessler, but he's a great weapon. He's got great leg and height.
He had a 56-yarder against the wind in the first half and has dodged the rush a few times. This one is a lengthy punt. Back to the 5-yard line, but Anthony gets away from Smith before being stopped at the 13-yard line. Eric Smith had him in his grasp at the 5, but the stiff arm executed by Anthony gives Florida some room with which to work. And they'll start that work when we come back. Just underway third quarter. LSU, Florida on Jefferson Pilot Sports. Appeared to be a stretching of that hamstring over there as he's on the phone, obviously, to Morris Watts upstairs. Florida sets up shot with Elijah Williams running off the left side. Not much room for him. James Gilliard made the tackle. And the Gators' possessions, as I said, this is a street team offensively, particularly off turnovers. They had the interception on that first series, which led to LSU's drive. But then touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. They had as many possessions in one half as they had in the entire game with Tommy Tuberville's Ole Miss Rebels last week, who held them to just 28 points. Second down, 9. The word we get from the LSU sidelines is that Jamie Howard is fine. They just wanted to stretch his legs just a bit down there. Williams wrapped up. McFarland appeared to be the first to crack through. He's already scored his first touchdown. He's obviously pumped up on defense.
Well, the big freshman gave him kind of a soft shoulder and went right over top him and burst into the backfield and actually got a hand on him in the backfield. Boy, he plays very, very well for a freshman.
Other scores, that Auburn-Mississippi State game, that's a tilt game for the Bulldogs, smarting from a loss to Northeast Louisiana last week. Big play here for LSU's defense. Double tight ends for Florida.
Got to get pressure on the quarterback.
Werfel looking long for Ike Hilliard. He dropped it.
Oh, he did drop it.
He had Walker and Talvey Crawford and Lenton all chasing his backside, and he just dropped it. I mean, the visor nearly came off. See that?
That says it all.
We almost got a look at bangs from Steve Spurrier.
Well, he said it. You can just see his reaction there. What he was saying is, hey, we had the ball, we had it, he just went off his fingertips.
Robbie Stevenson to punt it away. Eddie Kennison back at his 44.
Boy, you got to be careful with Kennison back there. We know what he can do. Averaging 19 yards a return on punts.
It's a low punt. Kennison will have room. Look out for the picket fence down the right side. Touchdown! Marker down at the 43-yard line. A marker down at the 43. As the picket fence set up down the right side, a block in the back was found. A clip and a push block in the back appeared to be Aaron Adams, 37, that's guilty.
Watch this left side. Let's see if we see it. Not there. Right there. You see in the left of your screen? That's the block in the back.
Terrace Ross, 88, blocked in the back by Aaron Adams.
Huge turnaround. I don't know that Kennison needed that block. I think he was outside.
Illegal block in the back on the return. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Quality call. Just another mistake by this LSU team. They've been shooting themselves in the foot most of this day.
And Tim, that's not a 5-yard penalty. That's a 55-yard penalty because it's a touchdown.
Timeout. 21-10 Florida with the lead, and we'll be back with much more after this word from your local SEC station. 8:42 remaining here in the third quarter. Tim Brando, Dave Rowe, Bob Kessling. Happy to have you with us on Jefferson Pilot Sports Lee SEC Game of the Week. Howard with the play fake. Lofts one for Wilson. Intercepted at the 29-yard line. Another mistake by Jamie Howard. Fred Weary gets his second pick of the day.
When you throw a ball that high, and you have the speed that these defensive backs have, and look at Steve Spurrier telling Werfel, you better make something happen this time. But again, watch the trajectory of the ball. Look how high it is, way up in the air.
And pressure did it.
Oh, yeah.
That's all about pressure. Campbell came in to force Jamie Howard to get happy feet, and that's the mistake. There are not many quarterbacks that wouldn't be affected from that pressure, but that has been Jamie's MO, and he's dodged the interceptions this year until today. First and 10, Werfel. to Hilliard. To the 45-yard line and a first down of LSU. Talvey Crawford coming up with the tackle. And again, emotionally, the ebb and flow of the game. Kennison with a punt return for a touchdown called back. Then you see the mistake made shortly thereafter from a team that's trying to say, hey, we're a contender, not a pretender.
Exactly right. And you watch Florida. They almost always capitalize on mistakes. They're a very opportunistic team. Werfel again making an option call here. He checked with me at the line. He reads the defense. Now the play.
Quick out, drop by Hilliard at the 40. Bob Kessling is standing by. Let's go to him now. Bob?
You know, we talked about the Hilliard family, but there's also the McCorkles here. This is Sam McCorkle, the third. Your son is Sam, who goes by Blaine McCorkle, and there's a McCorkle on the Florida team.
That's right. There's a whole bunch of us. There's actually about 4 Samuel Blaine McCorkles, and it all starts with my dad, who lives in Danville, Kentucky, and then Sam is my brother's son that plays for Florida, and Blaine is a walk-on freshman here at LSU.
So who do you root for today? Obviously.
I'm a Tiger. Through and through.
Sam also used to coach at Ole Miss and Vanderbilt, so he's got SEC ties too.
And the pass was complete to Jaquez Green. He's out of bounds, but a marker down back at the 42-yard line of LSU, a 22-yard pickup. Well, the McCorkle from Florida, Sam, is an outstanding special teams player. He's had 3 blocked punts for Florida this year.
I thought that was a pick play. You know, where you almost like a basketball pick where you kind of hit someone and run someone off. If it is, it's going to be pass interference on the offense.
Dick Burleson, the referee.
Now, Florida doesn't really, I mean, it's not really a coached play. Sometimes that'll happen just because of the routes that they take. They run very close and precise routes. But we'll just have to wait and see if, in fact, that is what it is.
Now, coaches are quick to point out, you know, we don't practice that. Just occasionally it happens.
You know, you talk about, you're right.
Pass interference on the offense.
Hey, the first thing our boss said to us was, why did he block him in the back? You hear Jimmy Rayburn in the back of the booth saying, why did he block him in the back on that punt? And you brought up a really good point.
Yeah, you talk to any head coach at the Division I level, when you talk of special teams breakdowns, they'll tell you that the NCAA practice limitation of only 20 hours per week costs special teams more than any other aspect of the game.
It certainly does. And look at Steve Spurrier. You can just tell he's very, you see his emotion all the time. It's on his face. He is really upset. His offense has just not done well today. They just have not run like they're so capable of running.
Third string quarterback Schottenheimer sending in the calls. Eric Presser as the blocking back with those calls coming in. 2nd and 25 for Werfel. Stansberry's got him.
Nobody touched Stansberry. Watch this. Nobody touched him. 43. There's no way to avoid him. There was nobody back there to block him.
Carl Reese's defense is beginning to show itself that they may have Werfel a bit confused in some of those reads because those check with me's aren't working the way they once did.
And you remember Donnie Young got hurt early.
That's true.
He's the big offensive guard in there, so maybe a mistake on the blocking in front.
2 sacks for Stansberry today. 3rd and 39. And again, movement up front. Rogers feels as if he may have been drawn. Matt Rogers, 82.
Well, they were going to shift. They were going to shift back to a shotgun formation, and that drew the defensive player off field.
Riedel Anthony was there making that shift.
Dead ball foul. Defense made contact. 5-yard penalty.
Now, was he drawn offside? That's what Jerry DiNardo's saying. If he makes any type of a movement towards the line, and you see it on the right of your screen. Watch the right. Oh, see, look right there. That's a move.
Yeah, Anthony is moving, and Rogers reacted to it.
Yeah, but look down on the left of your screen. Yeah. You saw the tackle drop back.
That's true.
That was Mo Collins dropping back.
That is not supposed to happen.
No, but you know the other thing? It wasn't right in front of him. You know that rule when you draw, when you jump offside,
it's got to be on your side.
Exactly.
3rd down, 34. Werfel looking for a wide open Hilliard. At the 49-yard line, Talvey Crawford brings him down.
Made the catch. Crawford made the tackle. 4th down. Gators.
Boy, this was a good hit. Good route running here. You see how precise their routes are. Run deep, straight ball. That's what you look like as a pick. Again, big hit there by Crawford to get in there. But they picked up a lot of yards on the play, but they're still going to have to punt.
Does help them in terms of field position, though, completing that 19-yarder. Stevenson to punt it away.
When you talk about not kicking field goals, Stevenson's only punted 8 times before this game.
The high punt, Kennison telling his players to get away from it. They wait for the ball to roll dead near the LSU 15-yard line. A 35-yard punt, but very effective for Stevenson, as Kennison can't come up with a return. How about Jamie Howard's confidence when we come back? Answer to that story and more forthcoming. And coming up next week, the Bulldogs and the Commodores from Nashville. 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central Time. Make your plans to be with us on many of these SEC stations. The defense doing a much better job putting a throttle on the fun and gun. But what about Jamie Howard's confidence in this series? A 5-yard gain for Cleveland. Maybe the longest run from scrimmage today for LSU.
I was thinking the exact same thing. I haven't seen him break into clear like that for a 5-yard gain. This Florida defense responds quickly to the ball.
Jamie Howard coming in today had 8 touchdown passes, only 1 interception. Well, he's had 2 picked today. Werfel has answered with 3 of his own. First time that's happened to him in a half's play. The defenses have become somewhat dominant in the last 10 to 12 minutes of this game. Cleveland drags a couple of Gators for a couple of yards and a marker down. This could be holding against LSU.
Yeah, where it's thrown right in the middle of that line, it's almost always holding.
Flag.
It will be holding, as authored by Dick Burleson. A look at this week's Burger King Top 10 fan poll, where you, the fan, votes for who's number 1. This week's number 1 team remains Florida State. Texas A&M hanging in there at number 9. Alabama with that big win is number 8. Stop by your local Burger King restaurants to find out how you can cast your vote for number 1. And in many cases, you are more qualified than a number of AP voters.
You think fans like offense? You see Florida 3rd. They love that offense.
You know, you take a look at the way the voting takes place in the AP, and people wonder why the scores are run up a time or two. Yeah. That's why they're run up. 2nd down, 15 for LSU. Cleveland again. Kendall Cleveland out to the 24-yard line. Mike Harris, the free safety, sophomore from Gainesville's Buckholes High School, made the tackle.
And that was the longest running play. Opened up a good one here. Not a blitz. They just kind of caught him in the seam, just opened up the middle, and he just put his head down and rambled for 19 yards. Really gets him out of trouble. Hey, Florida just put so much pressure on you. Hey, look at him. Oh, no. And look, another limping off the field.
How many more guys will LSU see limp off on the offensive end? That's Eric Smith this time.
Well, you already talk about the problem at wide receiver they've got with Shedrick Wilson being sore, and now Eric Smith.
3rd down, a yard. Quick pitch to Cleveland. Hard to get wide on Florida, but Cleveland does. That's a 1st down to the 37. Anthone Light, junior from Jacksonville.
Boy, you talk about making it on your own. I think he may have gotten hurt on the play. You see his helmet came off. He just put his head down, and you talk about bull running. Cleveland. It's about 6'1", about 215. He had to make at least the 25-yard line. He was going to be tackled right there. Now, right here, he's going to be tackled. Short? No. Look at that drive, that leg extension.
Got kicked in the head. He's a tough runner. Falk is more of the guy that LSU likes to get off the corner. Cleveland more of an inside runner. He's up to the 30-yard line this time. Well, the Tigers now forcing their run game, trying to establish it. That along with their short passing game, which in effect they did get done in that prior drive a little earlier. Tom Turner now.
He's limping off the side.
He's limping off. Wow. pomp and pageantry of college football. Packed house here today. Place selection for LSU, much more in the air than on the ground, but they're trying to better that statistic in this drive. Howard, the out pattern to Kennison, and you know, I think he may have short-armed that one.
Well, he was covered really well by Lawrence Wright. Lawrence Wright was just running step by step with him, so Howard really had to throw that thing out wide.
Yeah, but did you see real full extension there from Eddie Kennison?
No, he's one that you want to catch on the run. But watch here, you're right. Look how close Wright is, right on his back.
See, I didn't see the extension you want to see. And Smith, we're told, has a left ankle twist.
Well, if I'm going to hit somebody again, we know Shedrick Wilson across the middle. He's a possession-type player, and Kennison's got that speed. Bring Kennison on that post, bring Shedrick Wilson on that curl, and find somebody open. That's what they're thinking on LSU's side.
3rd and 7. Straight drop for Howard. Looking for Kennison. There was contact. And again, a broken route. Florida's defenders have done a nice job of breaking LSU's routes. Demetric Jackson and Anthone Light were there to cover Eddie Kennison.
And, you know, on the far side, Kennison and Wilson, they caused all the commotion out there. Everybody was going towards them. But Chris Beard on the far sideline was wide open. There had to be a break in coverage on that play. Anthony waiting at his 25-yard line. Kessler to punt it away. Florida's gotten awfully close a couple of times today. And they finally block it. At the 27-yard line, the Gators get it. And just as I mentioned how close they had been getting, they get one. Oh, yeah, the last one skipped on the ground, and he barely got it off. This time they capitalized on it. They put 9 men on the line of scrimmage. They just collapsed the wall of blockers in front. Watch how quickly they're in there. Jaquez Green, number 12, for Florida. Just takes it right off his foot. That's the perfect place to block it. Don't run into the punter. Again, just take it right, go for a spot right in front of his foot. Boy, Florida has capitalized so many times on plays like that. Again, just collapse it here, knife through, take it right off his foot. Now, the kicking game has been horrible for LSU today, both in kick coverage and now with their punting. You think about it, they had a block against South Carolina last week that allowed the Gamecocks an opportunity for a win, and ultimately it was a 20-20 tie. 1st and 10 Gators. With a turnover, they generally turn it into 7. Looking for a quick strike. Werfel under duress finds Tremaine Allen, number 91, the tight end, junior out of Knoxville, Tennessee's Brentwood Academy. Boy, Gilliard was right in his face. He threw that ball as he was backpedaling. But Florida's got to get some momentum going in this situation. They just have sputtered the whole time. Their offense has not gotten in gear. We're used to seeing that Florida offense run 10-12 plays down the field, and they just have not been able to get it cranked up in the second half. Well, we should mention Jerry DiNardo last year coached a Vanderbilt team into the 4th quarter, trailing only 10-7 to Florida. So he and Carl Reese, his defensive coordinator, have done a pretty good job of mastering the fun and gun. Werfel for Anthony. Touchdown, Gators. This is one that Torrey James, number 8, saw all the way. He just misplayed it. Look at the defense right there. He's trying to circle under, and he misses the ball. That's just technique, right? Yeah. Oh, and he just loses concentration on it. Anthony just really concentrated on the football. Just got great concentration. Looked the ball all the way in. And really, that should have been another interception. That could have certainly been an interception. Oh, when the Gators get an opening, they crack through for 7. Oh, they make you pay. They make you pay. They capitalize. So with only 2:04 remaining in the 3rd quarter, the Gators now lead at 28-10. Again, Torrey James, number 8, he had the ball. Again, watch Werfel. Watch the height he gets on the ball. Great release. Back in the pocket, big men giving him protection. Throw the ball up high. And Torrey James just misplays it. You see him right there on the left of your screen? He's got it. No, he doesn't. Great concentration. Watch Werfel. Yes. I can go over to the sideline, and maybe Steve will be a little bit happier.
You see the prayerful clasp there?
Yes.
Danny knows that without an outstanding receiver that can make a quality adjustment, you may not get as many of those statistical advantages through the course of any game. And Florida has tremendous receivers that have made those quarterbacks look oh so good for so long. Well, we talked about LSU moving from the moonlight to the daylight. It certainly didn't hurt their gait today. 80,583. That's the second largest crowd at Tiger Stadium.
Well, quickly, when was the largest crowd?
Auburn.
Auburn. Okay.
Auburn this year had a magnificent crowd for that game. Washington a few years ago drew a magnificent crowd. That may be the largest crowd in the history of the school. I think you have to go back to the early 80s for that particular game. And here's the kick. It's a pooch coming down. Clarence Linton gets it up to the 33-yard line. That's where the Tigers take over, 1st and 10. And I mentioned confidence with Jamie Howard in that last drive, and you saw what happened. They didn't get on track.
No, they didn't. They ran the ball with a little bit of success, but really, he doesn't look as if he's really running full out. He may be a little hurt. I mean, you don't see quarterbacks run with their arms moving up to the line of scrimmage. They usually run, they're kind of nimble. He doesn't look very nimble today.
Just over 2 minutes left here in the third. Florida by 18. Jennison drops another.
Gosh, you got to catch that football. Great separation with the corner. You got to come down with that football.
You know, I think you can say a lot about Florida's secondary really getting inside Eddie Kennison's helmet today.
Oh, watch this. This is an easy catch. This is just pitch and catch. You just catch up. Now, you know the old adage that you just, and again, gets smacked there. Little pop. But again, you know the adage of looking and running before you catch the football? Can't do that. Not on this level.
2 interceptions. They've been big. And only 14 for 37 for Howard today. 2nd and 10. Shedrick Wilson, who circles to the ball as well as anyone, makes the catch, but the tackle is made right on the spot by Fred Weary, number 24, who had that big interception that led to Florida's first score this afternoon.
Well, you know, you have to compliment the Florida coaches because they've coached their defensive secondary to not miss tackles. You see, when Weary gets his hands on them, I mean, he's not going to let go. They just don't break tackles.
Coach Zook, Ron Zook, works so much with the secondary, at one time defensive coordinator, and does a tremendous job with special teams now along those sidelines. Ball at the 43-yard line for LSU. 1st down, 10. And a drive that I'm sure Tiger fans are thinking could be the ball game if LSU is to hang in. Reverse. Kennison. And a marker comes down very late as Kennison is dropped at the 45-yard line.
Well, when that's thrown right there, and it's thrown as late as it is, it's partly on the tackle. Could be a block in the back, but most times it is that face mask. If you're LSU, just kind of hold your breath until the ref walks out here and signals.
Have a 5-yard inadvertent face mask against the defense into the run.
Look at Steve Sperry. Got the visor off.
Visor off. Yep. That's one. I think someone, and maybe we can do this, we should count how many times during the course of the game the visor comes off.
Now watch right here on the tail end of this play. You see the hand. All the hand has to do is go up on the face mask right there. That's the inadvertent 5-yard penalty. You know what's interesting about this game for Florida? Florida hasn't really played a tough game. They played a tough half against Tennessee when things didn't go well, but this has been a tough game for them. Now, big guy, you live right up the street here in downtown Shreveport. When's the last time you saw an October morning, afternoon like this?
Well, let me say this. In North Louisiana, you can get these kind of days a lot more often than in South Louisiana. It becomes a little more tropical once you get south of Alexandria. This is my home state. Proud to say so. 1st and 4. Howard rolls right. And dangerous pass again that large right. Nearly picked off. Junior out of North Miami High School. This is another guy that can wind up anywhere. You know, I look at Lawrence Wright, and I don't see much of a difference, Dave, in his approach to the game and that of Ben Hanks, whom we mentioned roves around and truly is a strong safety that because of his spot on the depth chart is a Butkus nominee.
Oh, yeah, exactly. There's Hanks, of course, number 11. Where's Spurrier's old jersey? But, you know, you look at the quality of player that this team has just kind of attracted. It's been incredible.
2nd down and 4 for LSU. There's movement. See how quickly Jamie hit that knee?
Yeah.
Mark Campbell, I think, got through there. Could be the guilty party.
Well, did they finally get 5 yards, or did the offense react? Because the defense went into the neutral zone, then the offense reacted. They're allowed to do that.
Offside, the defense.
Mark King was the one who jumped offside.
But they did get the offsides penalty against Florida. Not including today. The down line had not been very productive. Both Daniels and Hanks had 70. And, you know, Dave, there are a number of reasons why.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about, first of all, you're talking about losing tremendous players. You've got to play that line of scrimmage. There's one of the reasons. That guy's all over the place.
When you lose an Ellis Johnson and a Kevin Carter, that's another reason why. Millen, the other, obviously, that's in the NFL. Kendall Cleveland off the left side on the first down play, just a yard or so. Kevin Walton.
Boy, you talk again. Serious situations. This is a huge situation here. LSU is they just have no momentum going in. They need something to happen as they enter this 4th quarter.
Johnny Rutledge made that stop, number 58, as time winds down here in the 3rd. The Tigers with the ball at the Florida 44 with a 2nd and 9 as Jerry DiNardo's troops try to hang in against number 3 Florida on this positively balmy October day in the heart of the Bayou. Back with the 4th quarter from Baton Rouge after this. Stadium, Death Valley in Baton Rouge. Take a look at our Lee Apparel stats after 3 quarters of play. LSU trying to get their ground game going. Certainly in total yards they have improved, but they'll need more in this drive if they're to hang in. As we open the 4th on 2nd and 9. Howard, a quick drop. Cedric Wilson, he has been the sure hands man today. A number of drops, but none by Shedrick. He's at the 37-yard line. Fred Weary made the tackle.
Oh, big guy, I was thinking, now you got to really be dedicated to get your wife on an anniversary to come to an LSU football game. But you did it, didn't you? I wanted to wish you a happy anniversary.
You know,
hey, there you are.
You know, it is great to be back in Baton Rouge, where I spent so much of my time. And my wife and I were married. Our first home we bought was just outside Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and it's great to be back.
Well, you had 2 wonderful children with you. That was just a beautiful night we had last night.
Uncle Dave saying hello to Tiffany and Tara.
Oh, yeah.
On TV. There's a crossing pattern complete. Kennison out of bounds at the 14-yard line.
Boy, you start right now saying, what if? What if they had that block in the back on that return? Look at the field position they got. It's about the first time that they've gone to Kennison on a crossing pattern. He catches it, sets up a couple blockers here. Bam, right there, and then races to the outside.
The crowd reacting to that late hit from Lawrence Wright. Jamie Howard a little happier.
Look at him just smiling. You see that grin.
Kennison's had a tough afternoon when you consider the punt return negated and the drops.
Oh, yeah. But he's getting his head back in the game right now.
Opening moments of the 4th quarter. DiNardo wants a timeout. And he gets it. And what must be considered an absolute must offensive opportunity. 14-10 left. Number 3 Florida up by 18. USS Kidd, located down near Catfish Town on the flank of the Mississippi River Bridge in Baton Rouge. 28-10 Florida. The Tigers trying to get back into it from the Gators 14 off that reception by Eddie Kennison. Howard in trouble. Dumps it incomplete, and that nearly was a bad idea because Hanks was over there. The pressure again coming from Bernard, who has really been trouble for LSU today. David Bernard and Mark Campbell both working on that right side of LSU's offensive line against Faneca and Bordelon, and they have managed to get some pressure against Jamie.
They certainly have. They burst up the middle. We talked earlier about time of possession. Florida has not had it go their way today.
But that tells you that DiNardo was prophetic. Yes. It's not about time of possession. It's about first down.
Chains. Moving those chains.
Second down, 10. Howard behind Cedric Wilson. That was poorly thrown. I mean, now he should have caught it, but that's the kind of pass that must be thrown towards the boundary.
Yeah, but you've got to come up with those catches. This is just quick drag. You run them deep, come underneath, almost like a pick. But again, you got to come up with that.
You got to come up with it. But again, I think those are, and you see the frustration on the shirt sleeve of Howard. It's sometimes, again, whenever you're in this position, you're playing a game of significance. The little things.
Oh, and here a play, there a play, everywhere a play. Big down, third down.
Kennison and Wilson to the top of your screen out of the shotgun. Howard, crossing pattern, touchdown! Wilson. A marker down again. And here comes the news. It's against Florida. Cameron Davis is going to be charged with the foul.
And this is one that'll only be marked off on the kickoff. Will not be marked off now, but I think it's a personal foul, maybe a jam.
We may be getting offsetting penalties here. We may have two.
Oh, well, there's a second flag down on about the 25-yard line. I didn't see that one because all the players were standing in there.
Yep.
We had double foul on the play. We have a false start on the offense. Illegal motion on the offense.
Tom Turner, the tackle.
We have a personal foul roughing the passer against the defense. We'll replay the down.
More bad news for LSU, and opportunities blown.
Oh, and it was a perfectly thrown ball. Look on the left of your screen, number 71. See, he starts off just a bit. He's got those hands up, trying to get back, trying to get that position. That's the penalty there. But what a well-thrown ball. It was right in the seam, just a rope, right straight in there, just a dart.
Well, you got to believe at this stage of the game, particularly with the ball on the right hash, this could be 4-down territory.
Well, it's close. It's awfully hard to pick up 10 yards on Florida in this territory.
You're right.
They're so quick back to the football.
Third down and 10. They go for the fade route. Contact there. Wilson wants, but won't get a flag. Anthony Lott was right there with him. Florida's secondary has done a much better job in this game than we've seen in past games of jamming receivers.
Yeah, they do. They jam them, and they just don't give them that route. Look at the left of your screen, number 6, Cedric Wilson. He's an out and now up. Looks right there. There's a hand. Now that's interference because you saw the ball in the air.
Yeah. See, that's a miss. That is a miss. And now LaFleur will try a field goal from the right hash. 31 yards. And it's blocked. Blocked by Florida, and breakdowns in the kicking game yet again. Mike Harris is loose and down at the 19-yard line.
Tim, I'd love to look at that play again. I swear I thought that was interference. That was incredible how that happened.
There's Ron Zook right there to congratulate Harris. And another breakdown on the Tigers special teams.
Let's take another look at that if we can, at that interception. Missed pass. Now watch, the left of your screen. Oh, this is a field goal, excuse me. There's the tip right in the middle. Ball just didn't have enough height coming off the line.
Tigers and excited to be a member of the LSU.
Ball at the 19-yard line, and Werfel sacked back at the 15. That's Wiley getting through. We talked about missed opportunities for LSU, yes, but I have to admit that should have been pass interference in the end zone.
I thought it was. I really did. I mean, it's just one play, of course.
One of many that Jerry DiNardo would love to have back today.
Well, see, you just can't jam a receiver when that ball's in the air.
Ball is at the 17-yard line. Georgia Tech with a lead, and in the Big Ten, Northwestern up on Michigan in the fourth. Second and 14. He gets flagged. Now, see, I don't like that. He's upset with himself. He's upset with himself. I don't like the idea of that flag coming
Well,
back.
but he took the football.
I understand.
He took the football, threw the football, and it bounced about 20 yards across the field.
I understand. I understand it's the rule.
Well,
I just don't like the rule.
Got to live by the rules.
Dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct in the offense.
See, he's being unsportsmanlike to himself, in a sense.
Yeah, it's not a celebration, that's for sure.
No, that's...
Boy, things have just not gone well for Florida today. They have sputtered, but you know you really need to play games like this when things are just not going your way.
3rd down and 21. And a straight eye formation for Florida.
Definite pass situation. No.
Elijah Williams stopped at the 9-yard line. Robert Desautels, senior linebacker from Lake Charles, who's excellent against the run. And LSU will get quality field position after the punt.
Boy. But again, you go back to big plays, big penalties. 2 come to mind. That block in the back on that punt return is 7 points. That coming off sides on that touchdown strike is another one. Those are huge plays.
Yeah, the motion against Turner. The left tackle, huge. And Stevenson will punt it away from his end zone. Kennison at midfield. Line drive punt. Kennison on the bounce. Looking for some help. Manages the 45-yard line. A 42-yard punt. Kennison does manage a 4-yard return. Stevenson has done a nice job of making sure Eddie Kennison couldn't get that many returns. The one time he did get one, a penalty, negated a touchdown. Bob Kessling downstairs.
You know, Tim, you talk about the tradition here at LSU. One of the traditions they have is their double goalpost. We mean the 2 supports here. In the old days, back in the 1950s, that was a tradition here at LSU. Well, they moved it, and then they brought it back. Now, they've got part of the old goalpost still in the locker room, and the players slap the old goalpost when they come out on the field. One more of the big traditions that they have brought back here at LSU, hoping to bring the magic back to Tiger Stadium.
Hanks gets the sack. Ball is on the ground. I think LSU may have recovered way back at the 36-yard line.
Yeah, he was going to try to throw it. It would have been. Actually, I think it was a lateral.
Yeah.
I think Jamie Howard may be hurt.
Yeah, he's down. Holding his right arm. Ben Bordelon came up with that fumble recovery. And Ben Hanks caused it. Boy, and again, the heart stops right here.
Oh, yeah, because you've got Melvin Hill behind him, who's only thrown 6 passes this season.
Melvin Hill, who did get a few more reps earlier in the week than the norm because Jamie still was suffering a bit with that concussion he had in the late stages of the South Carolina game last week. Hill, a sophomore from Mansfield, and as the brother of Greg Hill. In fact, one of 3 Hills that have played at LSU. Those are his stats this year. He actually started the game at Florida last year, you may recall. Jamie had had some difficulty and had been benched for the start of that game, but didn't play that long.
Boy, listen to the fans. Woo.
Yeah, the Gator fans getting into it a bit.
Well, the Gator fans are doing the chomp.
Yeah.
And the LSU fans do not like the chomp.
Well, particularly when they're concerned with Jamie Howard's health.
You don't do chomps about quarterbacks. You can see they're holding his right arm. And again, remember last week, knocked out. They said he was knocked unconscious. Of course, they checked him on the sideline, but this time holding a wrist. He got hit up in that wrist area when he tried to get that pass off.
2nd down and 28, and Melvin Hill gets a turn, number 17. This is a young man that they may roll a bit more with. Not as much of a pocket passer as Jamie Howard. Up the middle to Kendall Cleveland. And he manages the 43-yard line. Dexter Daniels made the tackle.
Now you have to yell every play in because your second team doesn't get as many snaps. So you saw Melvin Hill run over the sideline and say, okay, coach, what do you want to run? Just tell me. Don't signal, just tell me. Maybe we can take a look at Howard again. This is on that play when Howard got hurt. Watch the right hand. See there? Now he comes down. See him put the arm down, spin up underneath him. That was Ben Hanks that was on top of him.
3rd down and 21 for LSU. Wilson and Kennison flank to the top of your screen.
Throw it long.
Hill with a double pump looking for Eric Smith deep. Ridden out of bounds. Fred Weary again there with coverage. You really have to be impressed with the Gators secondary. Now they have been jamming a bit more than the norm. And as we documented, we felt there may have been an interference penalty that went by the boards a few moments ago, but they've been physical. They've managed to cause LSU's receivers to drop a few passes, and they've been out of sync in large part because of Florida's aggressiveness.
Oh, exactly. Florida plays great man-to-man coverage. They put a man on each player, and they say, hey, go ahead. They love to play those 2 safeties back in there, but the outsides, they play man-to-man. They run with you.
Kessler to punt it away. Nice punt to Riedel Anthony, who will let it bounce inside the 5 on into the end zone. A touchback. 56-yard punt for the leading punter in the Southeastern Conference, Chad Kessler. And the Gators will have it at their 20 with 10.5 remaining. And the concern now is not for confidence, but for health, where Jamie Howard is concerned. You see the sidelines, the concern for Jamie Howard's health. It does appear that they are putting a brace. Have put that brace on that right wrist. 1st and 10 now for Werfel and the Gators, who have sputtered here in the second half. And they're keeping it on the ground. Terry Jackson, maybe a yard if that. Gabe Northern making the stop.
And I wonder how many baseball scouts are going, when he got that right wrist.
Now, John Sherholtz, of course, the Atlanta Braves, are not at all pleased that Jamie chose to stay in the spring and work on his football talents. But it certainly did help his credibility with his teammates and with Coach Jerry DiNardo as he wanted to go after his senior year at LSU. Let's go down to Bob Kessling. Bob?
Tim, we just got an update on Jamie Howard's situation. They think it's just a bruised shoulder, so that's good news. But they have iced it up. They put the arm in a sling, and it is very doubtful that he's going to be back for this football game.
Ouch, that's worse than a wrist.
Yeah.
Especially for a baseball player and a quarterback. You start thinking of rotator cuff, those type of injuries.
2nd down, 10. Complete. That's Ike Hilliard. Oh, he's having a nice homecoming. Young man out of Patterson, Louisiana, to the 44-yard line. Well, you talk of the Gators and being ranked 3rd. If you're going to win it all, it's going to be because you deserve it. Now, those are the results. And you say, okay, they're supposed to win those games, particularly Tennessee at the Swamp. But they're going to go through the month of October and not be at the Swamp. They've got to go to Auburn, Georgia. They get Northern Illinois. But within this league, it's at South Carolina, and then they get Vanderbilt. But the Auburn game next on the menu becomes so very important where this one is concerned. And with their breakdowns offensively today, I'm not sure they're not looking ahead to some extent. That's Jackson near midfield.
Well, this is where if you're Steve Spurrier, you say, I hope we got them all out of our system in one game, because they have had more mistakes in this game and more bad plays go against them. It's been incredible.
Wiley.
Look at that, 45-0 when holding the opposition under 21. You know, there's another stat, though, with Spurrier that many people perhaps have not thought that much about, and that is his road record against ranked teams. Not many people understand how difficult it has been for Steve Spurrier against ranked teams when on the road. 1-7-1, but they're 6-1 in this stadium the last 7 games. He has been tough on LSU. Jackson just stays with it for a first down. Great running, driving Wiley. Another 3 or 4 yards on his own for the first down.
He had 270 pounds on his back. That's Wiley, and he just drug him for about 5 yards. They hit him right on the line of scrimmage, and it's first down.
Gators at the 44-yard.
Jamie Howard, that brace on. The concern for his shoulder as he chats with Jerry DiNardo. Well, LSU had 2 touchdowns nullified by penalties and a penalty on the The defense gave Florida new life after a third down incompletion, you'll recall, before that first touchdown. And then the Gators scored on the very next play. That's a 21-point swing right there. Jackson stays with it down to the 37-yard line. Deshotel made the tackle.
This is just grinded out time. Rely on those big linemen, getting that little seam. Let Jackson kind of sneak on through. Maybe once in a while throw a pass if you have to, but when you're on second down and about 2 to 3, you got 2 more downs to run it. You just look up and watch the clock, kick on down. Yeah, LSU has had tremendous opportunities. You think, you know, those first 2 drives when they got the ball, that 61-yard drive when they came up and missed the field goal, that's another one that you have to add in there.
Jackson, nice cutback. That's tremendous vision. Inside the 25 to the 24. You know, with the success Robert Edwards had in making the conversion from defensive back to running back, we may see more coaches look at DBs and possibly think of putting them in the backfield.
Watch this. You talk about stopping on a dime. Now, just get back on outside. Look at the yardage. That was a stop on a dime and give you 9 cents change. Boy, that was a great move.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about sound effects with Jefferson Pilot Sports, folks. Dave Rowe.
Well, I did my all aboard last week.
That's right. Well, the Tigers would like to put the brakes on Florida here. First down, 10 Gators inside the LSU 25-yard line. Out of the eye, Jackson Dotson.
Oh, that's going to be movement.
Motion. Jason Odom, the tackle on the left side, the senior and Lombardi finalist.
When in talking with Florida's coaches, they said he has got to have a huge game.
Start on the offense.
He's playing against Gabe Northern, and he's really kept Northern out of there.
You think about it, Gilliard made a big play, the interception at the end of the second quarter, but we haven't called Gabe Northern's number that often today.
Well, Jason Oldham is one of those seniors, 6'5", 298 pounds. He's one of those great players, just excellent movement. And he's taking on somebody. This is a real test for him because you can't cut Northern. You can't overpower him because he's got such great speed around you. You got to play just different types of sets on him. That's a tough one on a offensive tackle.
First and 15 now after the motion penalty. Werfel steps up. And LSU gets penetration from the corner this time. It appeared to be Wiley the first to get there, the tackle. Gilliard also coming in off that corner, number 7.
They exploded and just crushed down that pocket. When Werfel stepped up, there was no one. That's how Wiley got those 4 sacks last week. Got great rush from the ends, and when the quarterback stuck up, bang, he knocked him on down.
He lost 5. Second down.
Bob Kessling has more downstairs. Bob?
Well, one of the concerns Florida has coming out of this game is the condition of Donnie Young, their offensive guard. Young is on crutches. He's in street clothes. It's his ankle again. It's the same ankle he had operated on during the offseason. So that's the biggest concern. And with this streak of games now coming up for the Gators, they need all the healthy bodies they can get. And Young, of course, if he can't come back next week, that will be a big blow to their offensive line.
That's true. And Story, who came in for him,
dead ball substitution fraction on the offense.
So the Gators are backed up. And since Story came into the game, frankly, LSU got more penetration either with McFarland or Wiley up front, and they decided to blitz on a few key plays. Here to see the numbers. Boy, Florida 112 yards on 12 penalties. LSU 10 penalties, but many of theirs much more crucial because it cost them touchdowns.
Sure. 2 of those penalties were 14 points.
Second and 26. Werfel up to Hilliard, hammered by Twilly at the 23-yard line.
Boy, did Twilly give a lot of room that time. You can't give that much room. You can't drop off 18, 20 yards. It's just a good out pattern route, and Twilly just gave too much distance. Watch this, just come down here, plant, and turn out. You don't even see Twilly in the picture here. Now he comes up and hits. Just can't give that much distance.
17-yard play.
17-yard play. It's third down and 9.
One of those sophomores, Troy Twilling. Going to be good. They say, hey, he's going to be good. But right now, it's a little scary.
He's made some big plays already this year. Werfel finds Doring. Well, since early in the game, Doring hasn't been as much of a factor. James and Linton make the stop. After an 8-yard gain, that'll be close to a first down.
Hey, look at that, Tim.
Look at that. Boy, does that change the Big Ten picture. And Arkansas in the second quarter with a 10-point lead over the Volunteers.
Well, we ought to call down and tell Bob Kessling that one.
Indeed. Well, and Steve Spurrier knows that Auburn game coming up is going to be very important, particularly if Tennessee keeps putting on pressure by winning games. But right now, Arkansas has them down 10. Quick pitch. It will be an option pass for the tight end, incomplete. Jackson looking for Sean Nunn, the reserve tight end, the junior out of Ocala, Florida.
I'll tell you one thing, that's the one when all the defensive linemen go quack, 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 quack when you throw a ball like that. Jackson's a much better rushing back than he is passing back.
There are a number of pundits that believe a team with 2 losses might win the SEC Western Division this year. LSU coming in with a 2-0-1 record in the conference. Those are the games that they had played coming in today. Coming up, Kentucky. You can't look over that Kentucky game, and it could come down to an Arkansas-LSU matchup, either for the West or for a bowl game, depending on how the rest of their season goes. That's Cleveland up to about the 20-yard line. 4.5 remaining as LSU gets the ball back.
And this is surprising for me. 4.5 left. And I think you're still in this football game. I know it's a long stretch, but run that football, you want to throw that football. Of course, when you lose your first team quarterback, that really stings you.
Opportunities missed. That will be, I'm sure, the theme of the aftermath of this game here in Baton Rouge.
Brings up a famous Dave Rowe statement. Your dips and butts were cherries and nuts, and every day be Christmas.
Here's Hill. We told you he liked to roll out. There's Savoie, the tight end, up to the 35-yard line. Mickey Savoie stopped by Lawrence Wright. Savoie is a nice story. He was a high school quarterback at South Lafourche. Lost a number of his friends to car wrecks. His biological father committed suicide. Transferred from 2 junior colleges, Western Yuma and then Gulf Coast Community College, before coming over to LSU, and is doing very well. One of the really nice stories you find traveling from campus to campus in college football.
Let's see if old Melvin Hill can roll out again. Threw that ball nice on the run. Nice dart.
Savoie lines up on the left side, and Hill rolls that way, and he looks to him. And he manages to get out of bounds at the 39-yard line. Mike Harris, the free safety, coming over to make the stop.
Boy, and he saw Ben Hanks in his face. He really got a lot of pressure by Hanks. He's going to roll to his left, and that's tough for a right-handed quarterback to square up. Look at number 11 coming in the screen. Bam.
There's a little meeting. Eric Smith coming back into the game as you see Jamie Howard looking on. Be very, very much concern as to Jamie Howard's future at the conclusion of this game. Probably the first question asked of Jerry DiNardo in the locker room.
Throw it long.
Hill looking deep for Smith, who was there, but it is overthrown.
Well, he's got a rocket on that arm. He threw that ball about 50 yards, and he never saw the tail end of it. Boy, did he get smacked. Watch this. He's going to good fake action right here. Play action now. Bring it back. Let him get long. Throw the rocket and watch the tail end of this. Bam. Ooh.
Willie Rogers, sophomore out of Miami, put a hat on Melvin Hill. Third down and 6 for Melvin Hill with the ball resting at LSU's 39-yard line.
And I saw Eddie Kennison go and say, listen, look at my number. I'm number 2. I'll be open.
Ian Wilson line up on the right side on this 3rd and 6 play. Down he goes. Ball is loose, and the Gators have it. At the 33-yard line, Melvin Hill gets hammered from the blind side. Rogers again involved with Campbell. Rogers made the hit, and Campbell in on that recovery.
Yeah, and I saw Tom Turner, number 71, put his hands up to his helmet. That's the backside. The quarterback's blind side. He never sees it coming.
Florida will have it at the 34 as they hit the gates at Tiger Stadium. Florida on their way. 28-10, the Florida Gators with the lead. Just over 3 minutes left, and Eric Kresser gets his first duty of this afternoon. Junior from Palm Beach Gardens. His season numbers, he's pretty good. A strong arm, maybe even stronger than Werfel. Wayne Mobley gets a carry. That's the fullback. He very rarely gets an opportunity to carry the football in the Florida system. You know, we talked at halftime about Rose Rewind and what we felt should happen for both of these teams to be successful in what they wanted to accomplish.
And it's interesting as we watched that Florida's offense still kept on making mistakes. They just were not able to get going. The defense kept rolling, get the turnovers, short passing game. LSU, they did take advantage on that short passing game.
But they had mistakes that negated 2 touchdowns that many will remember in this town in the aftermath of the game. Again, Mobley, junior out of Brooksville, Florida, Hernando High School, more of a blocker. Stopped by Wiley, number 55.
Yeah, you talk about big plays, and gosh, they come to mind real fast. Now, you think on Florida's side that kickoff return at the end of the first half where they didn't get any points of it, but there's not many other plays that that LSU really capitalized on. But boy, did LSU miss opportunities. Started with that first field goal and just kind of avalanched on them.
Mobley remains in the backfield on 3rd down and 7 out of the shotgun. Kresser will put it up over the middle, incomplete. Intended for Jaquez Green, a freshman from Fort Valley, Georgia. Stansbury coming in to provide pressure yet again. Stansbury's had a couple of sacks today against the Gators.
And Steve Spurrier's over there saying, where in the world is that Stansbury coming from?
4th down and a field goal try coming from Edmiston. They just, I'm sure, want to give him some work.
Yeah.
He doesn't get that many opportunities at a field goal try. He'll set it up at the 37 from the right hash.
What is he, 1 of 2? Is that right?
47-yard try from the right hash. And it's no good. So he's now 1 of 3 on the season, and the Tigers take over. But you can, I think, give a lot of credit to Florida, making absolutely certain that their secondary got into the heads of the LSU receivers. I think other than those blown opportunities, LSU's secondary, Florida's secondary dictated how this game would be played.
That's exactly right.
You see the standings after this presumed loss, which is only a minute 40 away. LSU drops to 2-1-1, 3-2-1 overall. Arkansas right now appears to be on its way to at least an opportunity of remaining unbeaten in the Southeastern Conference at home against Tennessee. Hill rolling to the right, incomplete, intended for Kennison. And in the East, that pivotal game, 62-37 over Tennessee, tilts the entire SEC East towards the Gators.
And it's hard to believe that Florida went, what, 57 or 58 years, something like that, without a title, and now, gosh, the last 4 or 5 years have been incredible.
Well, I think it's amazing to think what Spurrier has done in his 5 years. This is now his 6th season. He is tied for 3rd among all-time SEC coaches for outright conference victories. And that is incredible.
Yeah, they went 59 years without a title.
Right up the middle, Toomer gets it up to about the 39-yard line. So many accomplishments for Spurrier since coming over. Number 1 in SEC games won, winning percentage. We're talking about everybody. We're talking Nealon, Vaught,
put some of those big names in there.
3-time SEC Coach of the Year. And as I mentioned earlier, when you're tied for outright conference wins with Vince Dooley after just 5+ seasons in the SEC, that is some accomplishment.
Well, I know you've been outspoken about the run-up of scores, you know, especially trying to get the attention of the voters. But really, he's not running up the score.
No.
He's just got an offense that just, when it gets cranked up, my goodness, I'll never forget that second half of Tennessee.
Robert Toomer with the carry for the first down. And let me say, for those of you that don't know what I've said about the scores being run up, I think it's blasphemous that the media has made so much about scores being run up. One coach cries wolf. Every guy with a pen decides to write about it, and there have been blowouts in college football since the beginning of time. And if you get hammered in your own conference as the coach, you should realize, hey, I better get better, rather than crying wolf about the deficit.
That's right. We used to always say, if you can't play with the big boys, don't get off the porch.
Exactly. Hill in trouble. Lets it fly incomplete. Kennison trying to come up to help him down to the 45-yard line. Well, for LSU, this was a game in which they could measure themselves against the best within the Southeastern Conference, and truly without the mistakes, the breakdowns mentally, and to some extent being pushed around by that Florida secondary, I think they must feel that this is a game that they lost as much as Florida won.
Exactly. I mean, you can look at several plays that were touchdown plays. The punt return we've talked about. The touchdown pass that was negated by the motion. Those are two big plays. You cannot make mistakes against Florida.
No.
You just can't do it. You can't recover. And boy, do they capitalize when they get you to make a turnover.
I mean, they turn it into 7. Hill, little screen out to Toomer. He's got some room. Robert Toomer down to the 45-yard line. That'll move the chains. Stop the clock with 9 seconds left. They may have an opportunity of getting one more play off.
Heck, get him up on the line, throw a long one. What the heck? Give Melvin Hill a little opportunity. I think Melvin Hill may get a real chance to play next week.
Kevin Falk, another would-be Tiger today that could have made a difference. Unfortunately, the hamstring would not allow that.
Boy, and that had to be a real shot, because before the game, he just couldn't go. The big impact.
Steve Spurrier remains unbeaten and third-ranked nationally as the Tigers drop it to the Florida Gators 28-10. And we'll be back with more from Tiger Stadium after this.
Today's Lee Apparel SEC Game of the Week was brought to you by Lee Apparel. With new styles and colors, you'll like the way you look in Lee, the brand that fits. By the Jefferson Pilot Life Insurance Company, the vision to power your dreams. By Burger King, where you can get your burger's worth. And by BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
The Florida Gators got out to a 21-0 lead. LSU answered with 10 points in the second quarter, very late to make it a game, but could muster no scoring in the second half due to penalties negating touchdown opportunities. Our Miller Lite players of the game, Danny Werfel, that was, for him, not perhaps one of his better afternoons, but all in all, 18 of 35, 237 yards. Shedrick Wilson, 7 receptions, and he was truly the good hands man with 7 catches for 108 yards on a day in which LSU had many a dropped pass. Our Miller Lite players of the game, as the players of the game, receive a scholarship as part of the program provided to Jefferson Pilot Sports. Miller donates $2,000 to the Southeastern Conference to be distributed among its member institutions. We'll be back to wrap it up right after this word from one of your many SEC local stations.
There's pride in what we do, and it's all because of you. Louisiana at work.
Cox Communications is bringing tomorrow's technology to classrooms today. From free cable provided to 300 schools, to recognizing students and teachers, to $45,000 in scholarships and grants. Cox Communications, bringing a line to learning in Louisiana schools.
Louisiana at work.
8-10, our final score. The Florida Gators getting the win. Don't forget, coming up next week, Dave Rowe, Bob Kessling, and yours truly will be in Nashville, Music City, for the Bulldogs and the Commodores, 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central. Our executive producer, Jimmy Rayburn, the rest of the people responsible for today's telecast, all the night shots provided by Rob Reichley and Ken Dennis. Jefferson Pilot Sports production staff outfitted by Lee Apparel, the brand that fits. You have been watching Jefferson Pilot Sports exclusive coverage of Southeastern Conference football. Concern and missed opportunities, the theme of the day in Baton Rouge.